Yeah. Tesco brand cola, baby. My first stream. Why am I drinking Tesco brand cola, you ask? Because everything else is being boycotted. The sweater looks great. Thank you. I got it in Malta. Isn't it cute? Isn't it cute? I love it. I love it. Yeah. I went to this kilo sale in Malta and I got this. Are you concerned about birth rates? No. Why would I be concerned about birth rates? Okay. I'm half Maltese and I've always wanted to go. It's great. I really enjoyed it. Bit of a party island. I really enjoyed it. Okay. I have Aldi brand cola earlier, closest I've had to the... Yeah. How are the Oxford protests going? Good. That's as much as I'm going to say. But yeah, if you're in Oxford, pull up the protests, you might see me. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. You don't know. Do I go to those? I don't know. Who's asking? The Home Office? Who's to say? Home Office, guys, for the Home Office's information, I don't go to those protests. So when I apply for my graduate visa, you know. No, no, no. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Do you think it'll gain traction in the UK? Maybe. Ireland looking to send asylum seekers back to the UK. What? UK Prime Minister says it's evidence that his plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda is acting as a deterrent. Interesting. I had a really, really rough time at a synagogue today, and I want to thank you for spreading awareness. What? I do live in the UK. Yeah, I live in the UK. Anyway, send a guest request if you disagree with me. Send likes if you agree with me or disagree with me, but are too chicken shit to come up. Eugenics on steroids, the toxic and contested legacy of Oxford's Future of Humanity institution. Damn. Damn, that's bad. Eugenics on steroids is crazy. Ivy League colleges silencing their professors, arresting their professors. Insane takes. Anyway. How long have I been in the UK? I've been in the UK for about a year and a half. 2 years now. Pretty close. No, not really. I came no, a year and a half. My synagogue is full of Zionists, and they were all attacking me because I'm not a Zionist. That's horrendous. I'm sorry about that. Not in My Name is a great organization. Yeah, Jewish Voices for Peace is a really good organization. I live in Yorkshire. I've never been to Yorkshire. Some of my friends live in Yorkshire. So thank you so much, Amelia. That means a lot. Always good to hear from anti-Zionist Jews. I have a deep respect for the Jewish tradition, so I'm very pleased that there are anti-Zionist Jews in this world. Hope you're having a great stream. Thank you so much. What's agnostic atheist? So I observe that there's no evidence for a God, and therefore I don't believe in one. 8 people watching on YouTube. Very, very cool. Thank you. Oh, lol. Anyway. Taylor Swift new album is blasphemous and mocks God. Christian leaders outrage. Guys, I want to see what they're mad about now. Thank you so much. Why am I on more? Because my TikTok hasn't been taken down. Ugh. But guys, it looks like I'm just gonna get no viewership today. I think that the TikTok gods have decided that for me. So Jill Stein did get arrested, which is insane. Holy shit. Look at these ads, like Daily Mail, get your ish together. Oh my goodness. They're going to say there are like single mothers in the area at this point. My God. Wait, guys, what do you mean Palestine doesn't support this? Palestine is not like a together polity. Are you talking about the PA? Because the PA does support gay people domestically. So I don't know what you're talking about. The PA would be the only organization you could point to, and the PA is in close connection with Israel. They do. They do. If you think Boom. There's a significant legal divide between the West Bank and Gaza Strip, the former having more progressive laws and the latter having more conservative laws. Wild. Who would have thought that the thing organized by a terrorist group is this? Anyway, I hear it from all sides and it's a mess law. How are human rights controversial? Right? Can you vote in the UK election? No. My friend can, though. Am I Jewish? No. I mean, I have Jewish ancestry, but I'm not Jewish. How do you feel about How do you feel about pro-lifers as causal? Causal's objectively wrong. Agnostic atheist isn't a thing. Yes, it is. Like this is light shit. You look like a girl that's into girls and drive a Subaru. Hot. As long as I'm not Ellen, I'd love to be a lesbian. Doesn't have a choice means we don't have to agree on anything. What? It's giving model. Thank you. It's also giving wait, do y'all want to see? Guys, okay, so I use the smooth filter. But guys, that's me without the smooth filter, and that's me with it. This is the best my skin has looked in this is without the thing. What? It's the best my skin has looked in forever. Forever. In fairness, I'm finally using skincare things. So they're working. Slay. I'm actually such a cuck for them. Thank you. Anyway. I'm just curious, what's your reasoning for the Israeli take? I mean, they're human rights violations. I don't wear makeup. I don't think it's a good habit to get into, in my view. So if I can avoid I think there's a lot of social pressure to wear makeup for women, and I'm really, really happy that I don't have that social pressure, because it would suck. So I don't want to promote my skincare routine because I realize some of the skincare routine that I'm using is boycotted. So I'm not going to go in my skincare routine, and I'm going to try and find healthy products for it. But yeah. What does the Quran think about you? Maybe you should learn. Guys, if you don't think I know, God, anyone that's you don't know religion, you're just wrong. Come and talk to me on religion. I am not the most educated person in the world. Stop slurping. Stop watching. What if you calm down? Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing real well. What'd you send a guest request to disagree with?
I'm a conservative Christian. I love America. So I would like to debate any one of these.
You're a conservative Christian and you love America. Intriguing. We will have a lot to disagree on. Fascinating. We can talk about generally conservatism. Why do you consider yourself... why do you love America? What do you love about America?
Well, I love how America's supposed to be. Let's put it like that. I don't like what America has turned into after the 50s.
After the 50s? Sorry.
Yes.
Civil rights. So following the Civil Rights Act being passed in 1964.
Yes, I think that was detrimental to people of color and society as a whole.
You think the Civil Rights Act was detrimental to people of color? Explain that one to me.
Not okay. Yeah, let me clarify. Not the civil rights. I won't say that.
That would be wild.
The welfare state that accompanied that. Because
the welfare state following. Wait, sorry. You think welfare states have increased following 1960s?
No, I think that the welfare state has destabilized the American family, especially those of people of color.
You ever hear what happened in the 30s?
Mm-mm. What happened?
The New Deal?
The Great Depression?
The 30s and 40s, the New Deal.
The New Deal?
Right? Yeah. One of the largest expansions of the American welfare state ever seen. direct socialism, and massive investment in public works. You know,
Do what now? Sorry.
you
I'm
don't
sorry.
think? Did you get a call or did you?
Yeah, I did. I said I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Um, so like the New Deal was one of the largest expansions of the welfare state we've ever seen. One of the largest
Mm-hmm.
governmental expansions of like economic investment we have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird to look at the 50s and 60s where we actually saw a massive decrease in the welfare state, and a move like towards Thatcherism, where we moved away from welfare as something detrimental at all. What history? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I definitely think that America's better off. I think the '50s were the pinnacle of America, or of the world for that matter, for any country. Um, and so everything after that has preceded us to be where we are today, which is a lot worse off. If you look at our cities, if you look at our society, if you look at
It's
our
not true.
culture, it seems like now it just has dissolved into this nihilistic third world shithole kind of deal. Like, especially if you go to the progressive Democrat cities and stuff like that.
So net poverty rates, have they gone up or down?
I'm not sure.
Down by a whole lot worldwide, quite largely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confused. Life expectancy has increased.
Right.
Net poverty has decreased. Satiation and starvation have massively dropped in America and across the world, right? Especially if you look at places like China, like the developing global South. We have a lot of places that are getting notably better. What do you mean it's gotten worse? Like by what metric has it
Well, I'm
gotten worse?
sure
Like it makes
capitalism
does it
has
make does it
benefited
make
us all
you
in some.
feel like does it make you feel worse? Is this like a feeling or is this like something that you've observed and is actual fact? Like you weren't alive
Right.
during the
Yes.
50s. So this isn't based on like
So,
personal
so
observation. It must be based off research. What research?
right. It was based on the research of how many people in homes were together. As far as in the '50s, 80% of the black family, especially, were together. Now is detrimental. It's like only like I think like 35%, something like that, or two family households, and that has led. It's like a snowball effect, and the
It hasn't
welfare
led to more
state
poverty.
has contributed to that massively. And the civil rights movement has nothing but been just putting black people back on a political plantation. All of the great civil rights leaders have moved to these inner cities like Baltimore, New Orleans, Detroit. Now look at them. They're completely impoverished. They're crime ridden. They're full of open
Okay,
drug
wait.
scenes.
I'm gonna stop you there. I'm gonna stop you there.
And it's just,
I no no. I'm gonna stop you there. First of all, just because like that is wild and may threaten our accounts. But okay, on base level, why is single parentedness a bad thing? By and large, because it's correlated to poverty, right? And criminality.
no, by and large, because it's the child needs both a loving mother and a father
To
figure
what extent?
in
To
order
why?
to,
What do you mean by needs?
because that's what it takes in order to raise a child
These are
effectively.
meaningless statements. So you're not pointing to anything other than like your feelings. I would agree that single parentedness is a bad thing because
Right.
because it makes poverty more likely and because it increases criminality. It's correlated to criminality and poverty. That's a
Yeah,
bad
but
thing.
the main thing is they have no father figure in which to draw, morality from, somebody to keep them straight, someone to be there to
Why is
straighten
this a
them up,
bad
get them to
thing?
school.
Like
Because anything
materially.
apart, do what now?
Materially. Like I need you to point to materially why this is a bad thing. Because I first of all I disagree. They have plenty of figures in the media, in their communities, in their extended family to look up to. Right? You can learn and
I
have figures
disagree.
to learn. They can get morality from any number of places, right?
I
Everyone
disagree.
learns some form of You don't think they have media?
No, they have hip hop, which is nothing but vulgar, ill-gotten,
Do you
materialistic, nasty, just nasty shit, and that's
Once
what they
again,
look
all
up
you're
to.
doing, you're just stating feelings. That's
No, I'm
fine.
telling
That's
you that
fine.
culture.
No, but your state. Okay, okay. What is the largest contributor to black single parented households?
I have no idea
Why are you talking about it then?
because I can see the effects of it.
But wait, no, no. In order to know effect, you need to know a cause. And you're
Right.
saying you don't know the cause?
Yeah, the cause for single parent or the cause for the people being highly incarcerated and not doing good in education and not being a benefit to society, the main cause is they don't have a father in the home to help.
Why? Sorry, but this is circular. I asked you what is the leading cause of fatherlessness? It's it's being thrown in
Probably
jail.
welfare. They
Nope.
would
Why?
rather
Wait.
get
Why would
money
welfare?
from the
Welfare.
government than they
Welfare
would
harms you.
have a
Sorry.
father in the home.
If you don't pay alimony, you don't get access to welfare. No, if you don't pay child support, you don't get access to welfare. Right?
No,
Like
that's not true.
welfare is directly. No, it is like
No,
in
it's
a
not.
huge. It's not best enforced, but in a huge amount of places, yes, it is. That is
No,
one of
it's
the
not.
first things they cut off. I mean, you can just say "nuh-uh" if that wants to be your argument. That's fine,
Okay,
right?
I will.
But the point is one of the largest leading causes of black fatherlessness is the government throwing them in jail by and
For
large on
doing what?
by and large on nonviolent drug offenses. So if you want to talk about things that are causing black fatherlessness in this country, it's by and large going to be the war on drugs.
I agree. Joe Biden
The
wrote the
war on
laws for
drugs was a
lawyers,
do you disagree
enforced
that
the
the war on
laws.
drugs was an explicitly racist action by the federal government and continues to be?
Yeah, well, they didn't have to smoke crack. They didn't
No,
have
no,
to
no. I'm
smoke.
asking the war on drugs. So the Nixon's, I believe it was Nixon's direct assistant, maybe Secretary of State. There's a direct quote from him saying that the goal of the war on drugs was to throw black people and hippies in jail because they couldn't arrest their leaders. They couldn't without an excuse. But if they could correlate crack with black people and marijuana with hippies, they could disrupt their communities, arrest their leaders, and work against the revolutionary tendencies of those communities.
Well, I
They
don't think they
said
should
it
have.
was to target black people. So you're going
Yeah,
to take it's right out of the horse's mouth. How can you defend this policy which is explicitly racist?
what policy?
The war on drugs. The war on drugs is a
I'm
racialized.
not defending the policy of war on
Okay, so do you
drugs.
agree with the war on drugs?
Do I agree with the war on drugs? No, I don't think there should be a government which supplies drugs to the people in order to lock them
Nope.
up. No,
Okay,
I
then
think
you would
that's
agree
corrupt.
that a
And
huge portion of black fatherlessness is not cultural, but it primarily has to do with this explicitly racialized and racially motivated policy that the federal government implemented to
they
destabilize
didn't.
black communities.
They didn't
Who's
have to. They didn't have to play into that hands. They could have been smarter. But I want to say this: Joe Biden wrote those racist laws, and Kamala Harris
I don't
enforced
like
them.
Joe Biden. I don't like Kamala
I'm just telling
Harris.
you.
I don't wait, first of all,
Telling you.
don't like either of them. Second of all, I agree they're shitty. Third of all, it doesn't mean that you have to be reactionary conservative. Just because Joe
Do you
Biden
believe the
bad does
elections are free and fair?
just because Joe Biden bad doesn't mean Trump good. Okay.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. So this is irrelevant. I'm asking you why you're a political conservative. I'm not a liberal. I don't like
Right.
Joe. Do I think the elections were free and fair? All the data we have on that shows that basically any fraud. So I lived in one of the few counties where there or one of the few states where there was actually fraud, right? There was ballot harvesting, which got, I believe, the government gubernatorial. It was either gubernatorial or it was House of Rep elector persecuted and his election recused. That was actual ballot harvesting that actually went through the courts and was actually found to be election fraud. Do you know what party did that?
I have no idea.
The Republicans. He was a Republican candidate
Right.
and he was prosecuted and he admitted to doing it. That is one of
Right.
the only times in the 2016 or 2020 election cycle that any election fraud was actually happened, was actually proven.
That's
And
kind
it
of
was
suspect.
it was suspect he admitted to doing it.
Yeah,
Because
I
and
agree.
we
That's
know he did it.
suspect as
So
well.
it is one of the only times that has ever happened. It was done by Republicans. So literally
I don't believe that's the only time.
all the
That might
data
have
that
been
we
the
have,
only kind that got prosecuted, but I'm not sure. We don't have the evidence for that,
you
so
have
I can't
nothing.
say.
If you have nothing, there's no reason to speak.
Right.
But
So as
do
far
I think
as
it's free and fair? Yes. On all the data, it was one of the most free and fair elections that America has ever held due to implementation of new technology that ensured it. And in the very few cases that actual fraud was, where there was evidence for actual fraud, it by and large benefited Republicans. Jerry,
can I ask you something? Do you think America goes into these poor countries, these communist socialist countries, and interferes with their elections to
They,
get
of
people
course they
they
do.
want? And you don't think they would do it at home?
But who's they?
The elite, the ones who do that stuff.
Well, the U.S. government. So what do you mean the U.S. government interferes with its own election?
Right, in order to
What?
get the
But
puppets they
who?
need in order to, like, for example, if someone who was like Donald Trump, who was not raised in the politician world and
He
who
wasn't
is not
raised in the
paid
politician
for,
world. He was raised by
like,
a
he can't get
multi-millionaire.
anywhere close to Washington again
He is
because
he is
he's
a
not a
New
part of
York
their
elite.
establishment.
He is
He
the New
just
York
shined the
elite.
light and showed the world the swamp that is behind the
One
government
second.
and
Let's stop. Let's
power.
stop reiterating like just basic talking points. Donald Trump is a part of the elite. He was born in a multi-million-dollar family to a real estate mogul. He is
Yeah,
the
I don't
elite.
care about
Yes.
the elite.
Do you
I
know where
care
he went to
about the
school?
globalists that controlled America,
Doesn't
who are
Trump
able
own a
to
multi?
take
Doesn't Trump own a
control the
multinational
politicians
corporation?
on both sides of the aisle.
Doesn't Trump own a multinational corporation?
I guess I don't know.
Bro, what are you
Right,
talking
but
about? No,
he,
no, no.
but
So like,
he's
so,
not part of the WHO, the globalists that want to come in and destroy America,
what do you
which
mean?
has
What
been
does this
happening
mean?
under
How is
Biden
okay?
and other Republican presidents as well. I've watched it underneath Bush, Clinton,
I want
Obama,
so basically,
and now Biden.
I want to be
It's
able to
just
have an
like
actual discussion about
it's just
actual
like
things. I want to be able to have an actual discussion about actual things that are actually
okay. Sorry.
material.
So can I talk about
But this is
pro-choice?
not material, right?
Can I talk
And I
about
really like
pro-choice?
it. Really makes it very fundamentally difficult. I don't think you're aligned with reality. We can talk about abortion if you want, but there seems
Right.
to be a disconnect between how you think in reality. It seems to be by and large you're repeating right wing talking points because they feel good
Well,
to you. And
I'm just
I'm
showing you what
really
the world is reflecting. I'm sorry.
no, but
Um,
I would be really interested in deconstructing some of those points.
right,
Um, they just need to be made one at a time. So we can start with
right.
abortion. That's fine.
Okay. I'm
What's
I'm
your take?
I'm pro-abortion because as a fundamentalist Christian, I believe that God uses abortion to better the future by getting the people that he or that don't like him out of the way. For example, most of the people who are pro-choice, they are anti-God, and so
That's statistically
this,
not true.
well, I believe so.
And you're wait,
Um,
sorry, you're wrong.
right. Do you support abortion?
Do I so in what capacity? First of all, a majority of pro-choice people in America are Christian. Let's just
Pro-choice?
yeah, a majority of pro-choice people are
I don't
Christian
believe
or
that
I
whatsoever.
mean you're just wrong. That's
Well, I
fine.
haven't
You
seen.
cannot
I mean,
believe
I
it. I
just
mean,
don't believe
okay.
it.
Religious makeup of pro-choice America. I believe
Right.
there was a Pew. Boom. Wow, look at that. Okay, so 53% of adults who say abortion should be legal in most cases. Do, 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 do.
Or,
Um,
you didn't read that. You sound kind of cowardish.
what? This is 53%.
53%.
So I'm trying to find the direct statistic.
I bet you
Um,
are. But I'm
yeah,
okay
okay.
with
Belief
God.
in oh, great. This is the direct statistic. Pew Research Center, belief in God by views on abortion. Percent of adults who say believe in God, absolute certain. 50% of the portion that believe that abortion should be legal in most cases believe in God, absolutely certain. 24% believe in God fairly certainly, which means that 74% of people who believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases believe in God either certainly or fairly certainly.
I don't believe in that. I'm
You don't,
sorry.
okay, I mean, this is the thing.
I'm
Is
sorry.
like, wait, bro, how old are you? Just like,
I'm 40.
you're 40. So, like, you've gone through the world and you know that, like, you need to, like, base your beliefs on information.
Yeah, I don't base them on Pew Research. I'm sorry.
Okay, like, but the thing is like, if you don't base them off of peer-reviewed, nonpartisan
No,
research,
that's not what that is.
do you know what the Pew Research Center is?
No.
Okay. Um, I know these arguments can feel like they're attacking your identity, but like genuinely, it's important that we have like some form of like I'm speaking to you about reality and you're speaking to me about reality. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
So can you work with me on that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so when we do that, like I suggest a source. Pew
Uh-huh.
Research Center is a really highly respected political think tank, paid
Right.
for nonpartisanly, and shows this very clearly. It's an overwhelming majority that believe in God, right?
Okay.
Like you can have a feeling that is in
Right.
contravention of reality. That's fine. It's
Right.
just when new information is provided,
Right.
you should change it. So if
Right.
you still disagree with it, show me where the source is wrong or provide
Right.
some counter evidence, right?
Right.
But otherwise, like, I don't know why I'm speaking to you if we're not talking about reality.
Right. I agree with what you're saying. I just don't believe in that pew.
But you don't get
Are
to not
you
believe in
pro
reality. Sorry, you don't
LGBT?
get to not believe in reality. So what are you
Well,
talking about if it's
choose
not
to believe.
if it's
I
not
choose to
based if it's
believe.
not based on third party peer reviewed data? What is your belief based on?
Well, I can give you an example right now.
No, not an
Do you
example.
believe?
You talked about a majority of Americans who are pro choice don't believe in God. There's no example that could prove that other than an actual survey of those
Right.
Americans.
And there may be other surveys that discredit that one. I
So
just haven't
provide me
seen it.
one.
I
Provide
would
me
have to
one.
do the
But
research. I
you
agree.
wait, so why are you making genuinely, why are you making claims without knowledge? What is the point of that?
The point is just tell you how I feel.
That's really interesting.
Right.
You're expressing how you feel.
Right.
But when you're expressing how you feel, you need to not state it as fact because when we state
Right.
something as fact that isn't
Let
fact,
me
that's a
give you an
lie.
example. Are you pro-choice?
I am pro-choice.
Do you believe in God?
No,
There you go.
but that doesn't prove your point.
Hey, ask your audience. Let's do a poll in that.
Why would that be more scientific than Pew Research
Well, I
Center?
mean, it would just prove my point.
But it wouldn't.
Well, yeah, yes, it would. It
Is
just
my
shows
audience
you
representative of
that.
most of America?
Yeah, I don't agree with that research. But can
What
we
do
go
you
on
mean
to
you
the
don't
next?
you don't even know what the research is? Wait, this is like I feel like I'm speaking to like my lead poisoned grandfather. This is crazy. I like how do you go through the world if you don't have a basis for
Well,
reality?
you just proved me to be right in my eyes.
Yes, I know, and that's the issue. Is I know that you believe that.
And I guarantee your audience is the same.
But it doesn't.
And I know it doesn't equate to the whole world. I see what you're saying. I totally agree.
So
With
wait,
this
are you
with
like
this
okay,
audience
you're
with you,
40 years old.
yes.
You're 40 years old and you know what looking like facetious looks like.
Yes.
Okay. And you know the point you just made was facetious, right?
No, no, it was proven. It was proven that maybe
I,
you're
it
right
makes
about
you
the
feel
whole
good. It
world,
makes you feel
but
good.
especially in this world, let's put it in the TikTok world. Would you agree with that?
I have no data for that.
Right. Would you use this audience and you as an example?
Example of this audience and me, maybe. If you want to say most people in this audience are both pro
Well,
choice and agnostic
I agree
atheists,
because you could be because most of the a majority believes in God. So we would have to take that in consideration, which I did not. Um, being there's not that many agnostic atheists in the world compared to theist or deist. So there's that.
but I feel like we hit something there is you do feel like a debate is mainly about expressing your feelings. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Right.
Because for me, no one gives a shit how I feel.
Right. I
And
care.
there's no point in stating how you feel. There's a really important point in sharing information and making
Right.
arguments that are compelling.
Right.
But like I'm not I kind of care how you feel, but like that's not really the point. So when we talk about this, it becomes very frustrating and I feel like you know this. Like, do you have kids?
Yes, I have six
Okay.
children.
Like if you're arguing with kids, like oftentimes you just want to tell them like a thing, like, hey, we
Yeah.
need to do this for this. And like when they are expressing their emotions or when they are not engaging in that discussion, it becomes very difficult because you're operating on two completely different levels. You are
Right.
trying to express just factual, pragmatic truth that has real direct impact.
Right.
And they are feeling emotions and find that to be the most important part.
Right.
Whereas, like,
Did
if
you?
we're going to move forward, we both need to be able to pragmatically do this. I'm not saying this because I feel it, right?
Right.
And that's why I think a lot of people equivocate. They say, well, your opinion's just as valid as mine. No, it's not.
No,
If
no,
you
no.
if
I
you are
agree
basing
with
your
you.
opinion just based
I
off
agree.
feelings, and I'm basing it based off facts, mine matters
Based
a
on
lot
what you
more.
find on the internet, right? I understand that. That's fine.
Based on
You can find.
third-party peer-reviewed data.
Yeah, yeah, sure. All that fun stuff. Um, but I do agree with you, and I thank you so much for showing me. This is how you get to that. You got this assumption. If you got this feeling, that's fine. You're entitled to your feelings.
You're not
Let's work
entitled to your
through it.
feelings.
Huh?
You're not entitled to your feelings. You're certainly not entitled to stating your feelings.
Okay,
I disagree.
so
I disagree with that concept at all. I don't give a like. Of course, everyone feels things, but no one's
mhm.
entitled to it.
What do you mean? Are you not entitled to your feelings?
I don't know what it would mean to be entitled to my feelings.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a pretty good point. But what I was saying was, you're showing me, hey, if you come with these assumptions, then back it up. Bring some
No,
data.
don't start with your. I just no. That's not the starting point. Don't start with your assumptions. Start with the data.
The data. Well, does the data show us that over 60% of the people who are gay end up unaliving themselves?
No.
What does it show us? I guarantee you the majority of people who claim to be trans or homosexuality unalive themselves at a very high rate, over 50%.
What your side? Okay. So this is what's funny is like when you don't work with the actual things that you cite, and when you anyway, sorry. You're wrongly referencing something from the Williams Institute School of Law. More than 60% of unaliving attempts among LGBTQ people happen within 5 years of realizing they're LGBTQ. So you got a 60%? Not the right statistic, my love.
Mm-hmm. So there's ways around the truth. You can manipulate the truth in order to fit your narrative.
Well, no, you read a sentence wrong and I read it correctly.
Oh, okay. So what was the sentence one more time, please?
More than 60% of unaliving attempts among LGBTQ, they don't have T in here, people happen within 5 years of realizing they are LGBTQ.
What are the statistical numbers versus heterosexuals that would show us those differences? Are you able to find that? Like,
wait, this isn't about differences. So you want me to do
themselves at this rate? Because what it seems like is with all these mental trans issues that's happening, you're getting a lot of these school unalivings, and there seems to be a pattern I see happening. Like the last 5 shootings were like manifestos and people being trans. And
who's the sorry? Do you know the religious makeup of school unalivers?
No.
They're statistically there's a very particular archetype of people that do that. Young, typically 16 to 18, maybe down to 15. White, angry, Christian waspy men. That is the most likely. So people middle to wealthy, so not as wealthy as you could be, but like past working class, privileged white Christian men are statistically once again, you don't know.
Well, you don't either.
Yes, I do, because I've looked at the data here.
Show me.
Once again, why are you disagreeing
Because
if you don't know?
The last 5 school shooters, or for example, in order to be labeled as a unaliving, is 4 or more, and more people of color contribute to those than anybody else, not white people.
When we're talking about school shootings, you're also just wrong. Number of mass shootings in the U.S. between 1982 and December 2023 by school shooters, race or ethnicity, 80 of them white, 26 of them black, 12 of them Latino. White people contribute notably more.
For sure, no doubt. But we can agree they're all mentally ill.
Wait, so but the thing is when I present you with data that contradicts what you said, you don't say, "Oh, I was wrong." You say, "Fine." I need you to, number one, not make claims that you don't know. And number two, when presented with counter evidence, accept the counter evidence unless you can counter it.
I never said they created the most.
You said that. You said black people contribute more. You are
Yes,
wrong.
yeah, four or more.
No, I
Is
mean,
what
this is
is
wrong.
what mass shootings contribute to.
Once again, you have no data for this, and the data I provided counters that. So
Well, I'm sorry, I can't counter it on live, but
okay,
I
then why?
definitely
What are
would.
you referencing? What information are you referencing?
I was just saying that the last 4 or 5 school shootings are done by trans mentally ill people,
Okay, I
and
mean,
I'm just starting to see a
is
pattern
this
with mental illness and
the
trans
thing
people.
is you're not looking at data. You're looking at like headlines. It's actually
Well, no,
like massively
there's actually
frustrating. How do you go
manifestos.
like okay, this is getting personal because like
I'm sorry.
you're not I don't know how you reach the age of 40 and still have this mindset. And maybe it happens when you turn 30 or 40. But you're not critically analyzing anything you're saying, and I don't even think you mean the things you're saying.
Well, I've seen the things that I'm saying. I've
But
seen the
okay,
people. I've seen their names. I've
something
seen
of the
their
past five school shootings when like what
yeah.
over 1,000 of those incidents happened in the past year.
What?
Like when we talk about that, we can't pull data from 5 instances.
No, all I was saying is I'm seeing a pattern
But you
with
can't
the
see a
last
relevant
5.
pattern in
Yeah, I
5.
can.
You
I
can't.
can.
You can't.
Yeah, I can. I can see that they're all trans. They're all mentally
But the
ill.
5,
They're
the
all
5. Sorry.
anti-Christian.
Okay.
They're all anti-white.
Do you?
I can
But
see patterns.
you're ignoring the majority of them. You're ignoring the majority of actual school shooters.
You're ignoring the truth.
You can't be this. You cannot be. You
Seriously.
cannot be
You can't
this
be so
bold.
obtuse that you can't see that what's going on, especially when they're going and targeting Christian children. And you're going to be like, they're just Christian. No, come on, man.
You want to feel victimized. I understand that.
No,
It
I'm
feels good
showing
to
you who
feel
the victims
victimized.
are, and
No,
you're
it
just
feels good to
supporting
feel
the
victimized. I need you
perpetrators.
to separate. Okay. A majority of school shooters are white.
You sound like Alex Jones. Listen, these
I
things
sound like
happen.
Alex Jones? A
Yeah.
majority of school shooters are white. Do you disagree?
No.
Okay. Are you suggesting that there is a pattern of anti-white school shootings in America?
Yes.
How is that true when a majority of them are white?
Well, you have to look at the last few, is what I was saying. There was
Okay,
a
the
pattern.
last few.
Mhm.
Why is the last few more relevant? And also, within what time period are you talking?
Well, you would have to look and
But no,
see what
you
the
would have to
manifestos
look.
were saying, and then you would
Sorry,
see.
you would have to look.
Well, I already have. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so specifically who are you referencing?
The one in Tennessee.
Tennessee. I'll try and use TikTok friendly language as well, like while I'm anyway. School shooting. 2023 Nashville.
Yeah.
Great. So this is one. You're gonna have to pull up 4 other ones.
Yep. So that's one. And do the rest, and you'll see there's a pattern. The pattern is get rid of white Christians. That seems to be the pattern in America.
This is replacement theory, by the way. You know replacement theory?
Yes, and I see it firsthand at the southern border.
Insane.
You telling me? Have you been to a store lately?
Have I been to a store?
Have you seen all the brown and black people replacing white people in America?
Okay, so Aiden Hale, Nashville shooter, was white.
Yes,
First of
she
all.
was.
So she's anti-white?
Yes.
Intriguing.
No, she's anti-Christian. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she was anti-white if she was progressive, leftist type mentality. They're all anti-white.
This is fascinating. Okay. I want to kill you. Sorry, I want to unalive you little... I don't know what this blanked out word is. One page from the manifesto reads, the one you're referencing that has been pushed out here is bunch of little F slurs with your white privilege is F-U F slurs. But that's not... Sorry, calling them all F slurs is not progressive.
No, but mentioning their white privilege is.
Okay.
So,
but this isn't a huge progressive, like they're not a progressive. They're just crazy.
No,
do you see the distinction here? This is not progressive. Saying I'm targeting white queer people.
Yeah. They're pretty par for the course
But
with the
wait, they're
woke
not.
left.
Sorry, progressive people don't say the F slur to people and unalive them.
Yes, they do.
They just like wait. Are progressive people by and large supportive of the LGBTQ community or against it?
Uh, support it.
Okay, and so unaliving them because they're part of it is supporting them.
What now?
I mean, they said a bunch of little F slurs with your white privilege, F you F slurs. Maybe
What's
that's
that?
not the F slur. Maybe that's that. Maybe that's FUCK. Intriguing. It's hard
Yeah.
because it's blocked. I'm intrigued. Okay, so you said there's a pattern. So as I've said, a majority. If you let's pull up the manifesto of the Unabomber.
No, that's not the pattern.
Oh,
I'm
that
talking
wait,
about-
sorry, that doesn't fall. Let's pull up.
No,
the-
I'm talking about mass school shootings.
Okay, let's pull up the manifesto of the Sandy Hook.
Well, that hasn't been part of the pattern.
Yeah, it doesn't fit
Well, then
the
I'm
pattern
talking
you're
about here
suggesting.
lately. Do the last 5 and then let's talk.
Wait, sorry. The Sandy Hook, one of the most deadly shootings in like American history, or like one of the seminal, highly deadly shootings in this. You don't think it's relevant? What about
I
Columbine?
think it's relevant, but just not to this conversation.
Why? If you're trying to build a pattern,
Within the last 5,
why are you drawing the line of the last 5?
because they have been all trans.
Okay, name another one.
The others, you look them up.
I don't. Okay.
And also, mass shootings are 4 and up, and we know.
Once
that.
again, that's a specific definition. It's not
Right.
the universally
I
accepted
like
definition.
specific definitions.
It's not. That's not what. Anyway. Like. Why is this? Oh, this is only 2000. 2023. Are we saying? Okay. So the most recent 5. March, April, May, 2024. So the most recent 5. Arlington, Texas. Arlington, Texas, 1 person. Raleigh, a man in his 70s. A woman was shot and unalived. The alleged shooter was a former police officer and her ex-husband. So not trans, not trans, not trans.
Are those school shootings?
So this is the list of school shootings. A student at Bowie High School. That's a school shooting.
Yeah, but that's not a mass shooting. That's not what we're talking about.
Okay. So you're talking about the ones you read in the headlines. So this is 4. Atlanta, Georgia, 2024. Atlanta. Let's see what this one has to say. This one doesn't. I don't think it was widely reported who the. Let's see.
Well, then we probably know who it was. They wasn't white if it's not reported.
Okay. Once again, that is the most explicit bias filling, right? You know that, right?
Yeah, it's also honest.
No, it's just whatever data you don't have, you fill in with your own
I'm
biases.
telling you, if you find it, it will be true. They just hate white people. They just want to.
Oh, this was okay. Dion Patterson was born in Hanover,
Thank you.
Maryland. Okay, Dion Patterson. I don't want to. Dion?
He sounds white, don't
Does he?
he? Oh, he's black.
Okay, so your bias filled in
being
something.
facetious.
Your
I'm
bias,
sorry.
yeah. Actually, do stop.
Okay, I'm sorry. I will stop.
I like genuinely.
I'm serious.
I need you to be because we're talking about people dying and you're laughing about it. You're laughing about yourself being
I'm
racist.
sorry.
You realize that,
So,
right?
He wasn't white.
But you're laughing about yourself being racist.
No, I was laughing about you being wrong. I'm sorry.
But I wasn't wrong.
I'm sure you were. I'm sorry. I was laughing about me being right.
You weren't right.
He's not white.
But you said if it doesn't mention it, it means they're white.
If it doesn't mention it, that means it wasn't white, is what I said.
No, it's not.
They only mention it if they're
Maybe
white.
it's what you meant. It also, when have they ever said this white man? Like by and large, the exact opposite is
All the
true.
damn time. anytime they can.
I mean, this is categorically wrong, but that's fine.
Totally
Okay, so Hanover, Maryland. This guy was not looking at it. He made no such claims, and he was not trans. So, 2 examples. One of them's trans, one of them's not. Let's get up the next one.
How do you? Whoa. What did you just say? He made what?
There's no indication that he was trans.
What was the reason? What was the motive?
Who is Dean Patterson, the Johannesburg person who did, let's see. He was black, so showing the picture. Issued a statement. They typically don't, like, publish motives because it, like, motivates these type of things.
Was he a trans man?
No.
Is it how you know?
Because there's no reference to him being trans.
But he could be trans and they just didn't make a reference to it.
Okay. I mean, he could be an alien.
Right.
You could be.
Okay.
Do you have evidence? But when you're saying I'm noticing a pattern, you have to have the data to notice that pattern.
Keep it going, bro. Keep it going.
Wait, but like, bro.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding, bro. I'm serious.
Stop.
I thank you for.
No one will find it funny. Everyone finds it gross. Like, actually, it is really gross when you think that it's, like, appropriate to joke about you preaching white supremacist ideology. The replacement theory is a white supremacist ideology.
It's also
joking.
True. Joe Biden was bragging about it one time. You can look that up, too.
Are you a white supremacist?
No.
Then why are you saying a white supremacist ideology is true?
Because the replacement is true.
Do you think it's acceptable? Sorry.
I can see that in our culture.
Okay, so you're second. You're
1950 to the white population. Look at it now. Come on now, just be real. Do your little math. Type it up on your computer.
Do you think that this is an appropriate? So, if you actually want us to take these concerns seriously, do you think you acting like a child and bringing them is helping us try and do that, or does it actually look more like you're engaging with this on a feelings level rather than a logical level? Because if you actually believed that, you'd not be joking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not joking at all.
So stop.
I'm not.
Act like an adult.
I'm not joking.
Doing little typey things, saying for us to do our little math is acting like a child. You are a 40-year-old man. Act like it.
Right.
When you're preaching white supremacist ideology, first of all, shouldn't do that anyway. But second of all, there is nothing funny about it. And you need, if you're going to do it, we're going to have a discussion about it.
That white people are being replaced.
The white replacement theory is the suggestion that there is an active, concerted political, economic effort 100%. to get rid of white people. That is categorically wrong. The only effort we actually have is by Republicans to maintain white populations. Do you know what birth dearth is? Do you know what birth dearth is?
I've seen Joe Biden.
Shush. Be quiet. Do you know what birth dearth is?
If you look in Europe,
oh my goodness, you're a child. Do you know what birth dearth is?
Multiculturalism is killing the West.
You're a child. Please don't act like a child. Do you know what birth dearth is?
No.
Birth dearth was a memo, right? Birth dearth is like a phenomena, but birth dearth is also a memo that was referenced that at the beginning of the pro-life movement, saying that if they didn't get rid of abortion quick enough, black people would increase in population sufficiently, because by and large at that time white women were getting much more abortions than black people were. It was the explicit, active political goal to restrict reproductive freedom to maintain the white population. There is an active goal on the pro-life side and on the conservative evangelical Christian side to maintain the white population at a certain high. Boom.
I'm okay
but
with
second
that.
of all,
but I'm not okay
you're okay with that? You're okay with it?
Yes.
You're okay with that?
Of course.
You realize?
Yes,
wait, sorry. That is eugenics. That is eugenics. That is explicitly eugenical.
Do you know what abortion actually does? 10 to 15% more people of color use abortion.
Now, I'm talking about the past policy.
So what did it actually do?
Wait, okay.
It actually incentivizes black people to kill their own babies.
So
is that racist?
So what would be racist is a policy explicitly placed such that black people do this, if that was the goal. But when you have a policy that is explicitly restricting reproductive freedom to maintain who they view as a better race for this country, white people, that is eugenics.
No.
What is your understanding of eugenics? Let's start there.
That's just saving lives.
They're doing it because they want more white people.
I understand.
Is that racist?
I'm okay with that. Are you not okay with that?
Is it racist to actively put a policy in to favor one race having a majority in a country over another?
No.
What is your understanding of racism? What would be racist? Because that is eugenics. So like when we look at through any eugenical leader in the past, 1930s Germany, right? 1930s Italy, Japan, right, in the 30s and 40s, that is what they did. Is they affected reproductive freedom, right? Mm-hmm. They engaged in active mutilation and economic harm,
and trans community,
and did a huge series of other things. But basically, when we look at this, they restricted reproductive freedom so that white people would continue to have more children.
I'm okay with that.
I've heard you the first 3 times you said that racist ass shit. You know, do you think I didn't hear you? It is racist as hell. It is racist as hell for you to say that they.
It's racist not to want white people to be around, right?
I never said that. That's not what I said.
That's what you just said.
No, it's not.
I think it's not. I think it's okay to want to have more white people around. Is that racist?
For more, yeah.
No, it's not. Basically, that's ignorant to say that. And what abortion has done is unallow more black people than ever, and the black community support it. And hey, listen, if they what would be
wrong is for a politician
unaliving their own children, then go ahead. I don't care.
Okay. When you repeat something 3 times, it makes me feel like you don't want to have a conversation. You just want to express your feelings. If you want to express your feelings, go talk to a wall. If you want to have a conversation, speak to me.
It's not my feelings that black people
don't repeat yourself then. Can you stop repeating yourself like 10 times and interrupting me in doing so?
I'm just trying to show you.
No.
What that law
okay.
Did
you believe that I didn't
help well, I guess it did help. I guess it did help though, didn't it?
Is all things considered in my comments? Anyway. Okay. You can unmute now. We just had to take a little, Guys, I think I would be a great kindergartner teacher.
I agree you would.
Thank you. Now I need you to act like an adult. Oh! Guys, it was flagged for hate speech and hateful behaviors. As we all know. Okay. I actually don't. I hate children. Dirty, grubby, little gross things. Anyway. They're disgusting. They disgust me. Okay. Have we got more people in the guest? No, we have no more people in the guest request. Basically, this live was flagged for hate speech. And so what we're going to do is restart the live. Right? We're going to restart the live. So I'm going to close it, and all of you little cute little people are going to go and come on in like 2 seconds and like it up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Can we get some yeses in the chat? Some slays in the chat? Also, I am live on YouTube, so if you want to follow me there, do. All right. Slay Queens. Bye. I'll be back in like literally 2 seconds. Just my YouTube queens. What is this? Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy. Oh no. Bye. I'll be in like literally 2 seconds. Oh, is my computer dying? Hello, 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 queens. Send likes. Let's get moving. Oh no, not my computer dying. Why? Hello, hello. Okay, we're getting the people back. Let's get people back in here. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy. Haven't seen you in forever. Am I tribute? I thought you just ended. Yes, but I'm like coming back on. That's the whole point. Oh, thank you, Slay. I love when people send me bits. What I will say is like TikTok really doesn't like me. And TikTok might get banned. So if you want to follow me still, if you think I'm a cool guy, go follow my YouTube. The YouTube's linked in the bottom. And as a little extra, you know what you get? You get all my recordings, a shit ton of recordings. So yeah, go follow me there. Yeah, TikTok really hates all the debaters, like a lot. Is this actual All Things Considered? Surely it's not. You mean he's on YouTube now? Yes, I am, baby. Okay, let's keep moving and grooving and going. NPR is a propaganda platform. You're crazy. You're a crazy person. Guys, you know what I want? I want the tote bag. Guys, that's what I want. Anyone have the tote? If someone can, I will donate in their national drive when I'm like really rich, okay? But for the time being, I want an NPR tote bag. How much is the NPR tote bag? Tote bag. They did not even choose to do a story about Hunter Biden's laptop. 1 second. NPR, Hunter Biden's laptop. Boom. Details emerge in federal investigation into Hunter Biden. So easy to prove you wrong. You're so incredible. There's fresh scrutiny on Hunter Biden, the president's son, as he is under investigation. Part of this investigation appears to center on emails that showed up on the notorious laptop that was publicized before the 2020 election. Crazy.
I'm talking about during the election, you dumb fuck. I'm sure they
Whoa,
have
no. No. You will apologize or you will leave.
I'm sorry.
You will not act like that again.
I would never assault like that again. I'm sorry. I got emotional. I'm sorry. Will never happen again, bro. I promise you.
There we are. So what you said was wrong. Now let's see if we can find
what was right, because they sent out a tweet saying when the actual story happened that they choose not to run a story on the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, since then, they have chose to have no other option than to expose the criminality of the Biden family on their platform.
But it means the word. So the thing is, first of all, the thing is, the words you said were wrong. You said they did not do a story on Hunter Biden's laptop. They did, just not how you wanted them to. You can clarify.
Necessary.
Yeah. So the thing you said was incorrect. Cool. What you meant to say maybe would have been more correct. And now I'm seeing the right-wing headline that you're repeating, right? Which is This is widely covered by a quote whistleblower of them. Which is NPR. You're repeating the New York Post headline. NPR is you stunning mea culpa after claiming Hunter Biden laptop doesn't. Or NPR NPR quit on Twitter files after calling Hunter Biden laptop a pure distraction in 2020 that wasn't really a story.
That's right.
Okay.
They're cowards.
I mean, they're also correct.
Propaganda machines. Listen, I used to love NPR. I was a Biden fan. I vote. I mean,
I don't care. I mean, clearly your opinions, like, the thing is like, this is really, really classical. When your opinions are based on nothing, emotions and populism are really easy to appeal to you. You just felt like the Dems appealed to your emotions the most. I don't give you credit for, like, being emotionally appealed for this way. I don't even think you really like Trump. I just think he makes you feel good. I think feeling like a victim.
Like Trump.
That's okay. I feel like feeling like a victim. This is like, okay. Feeling like a victim and then having people to point to and blame who really you materially can't attack, the elites, the globalists. Right. Very classic populism, right? It's exactly what every populist has ever done. They point to some elite. They say they are not a part of it. They are of the working class, for the working class. By and large, that populist leader is actually of that class, right? Like, Trump is clearly of that class. Populists throughout the past have been of those classes. We can look in populism, the Reaganism, the Thatcherites, etc. Different forms of populism look the exact same. And then they make the people feel good because all of their problems can be pointed at this amorphous group of people that they're saying they're attacking. And then literally any policy can be said to be attacking the globalists because they just say the globalists are pushing policies that no one actually gives a shit about. Right? Like the trans agenda. Why in the world would the globalists support that? They haven't historically ever.
Because it depopulates America.
Why did they not support it 70 years ago?
Because they wasn't ready.
Who's they? Who, like, this is the thing. Why did the globalists massively push it here and not there?
Push it where?
70 years ago, it was illegal. Why did the globalists not push it?
Because it wasn't ready then.
Who wasn't ready?
America has gotten more deprived since the 50s.
America hasn't gotten more deprived since the 50s.
Where homosexuality and other perversions are acceptable in our culture.
Sorry, so America hasn't got...
to unalive people through, what they do at schools, or unalive themselves or castrate themselves.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to stop you there. America has not gotten more deprived since the 50s. It has gotten less deprived since the 50s.
Oh, for sure it has.
By what metric?
Most definitely. You can't walk down.
What metric? Net poverty's down.
I've been to California multiple times.
Net poverty's down.
I go to California, especially San Francisco.
Babe, I don't care. Stop. Wait, babe, I don't care. Stop speaking. The thing is like when you say, wait, okay.
And that's not...
Don't care. Doesn't matter. Poor people. It doesn't. 1 second.
Farming homelessness matters.
Are you...
When Democrats farm homelessness, it matters.
Are you suggesting that net poverty has increased in America since the 50s?
Poverty?
Yes.
I'm talking about the homelessness that has increased in all of our major cities.
Well, the homeless populations have gone to the major cities, but that's not the same thing as America being more deprived. Those are two different things.
Well, yeah, we see,
I need you to base. I'm gonna put a really low bar on what you're saying. If what you say is based off your anecdotes and your personal feelings, I'm going to mute you and tell you that no one cares. So I'll ask you the question again. Poverty has not increased in America; it's decreased. What metric are you using to say America is more deprived?
People have went more into poverty now than they have ever been in America.
Wrong. By what metric?
Our credit cards are being out. There's too much on our credit cards, and people are paying for groceries. They can't afford their rent, such as like this.
Can you give me anyone that agrees with you? So, like, I can reference any number of sources that show very clearly that net poverty in America has decreased massively over the past 70 years. We know that to be true.
Well, that may be true.
Okay.
But when everything else goes up even more, it doesn't matter.
What do you mean everything else has gone up even more?
So if I make $2 more this year, but things go up $10, what does it matter?
But that's not what poverty is. That's not what poverty is. That's not what poverty is.
Instead of bringing it to reality.
That's not what poverty is. Poverty is your ability to buy things that you need.
Right.
The
Okay,
ability of American workers to buy things that they need to live has gone up.
has diminished. Has
Okay, you are
diminished.
wrong.
No, because or why are they just robbing stores? Why are stores being looted? Why are people not able to pay their bills? Why can they not buy their groceries? It's
Mm.
worse off now than it's been in a while. And ever since the 50s, America has been on a snowball effect to communism. And
Has our
now the
GDP?
globalists
One
are
second. Nope.
killing our
This is your.
country.
We're starting on our feelings again. Get a diary, babe. Give me a citation. GDP per capita has increased. Net
Well,
purchasing
that doesn't
power.
matter. So has inflation. So that doesn't matter.
No, no, no. Inflation adjusted GDP per capita has gone up.
It doesn't matter when things are more expensive
Do you know what
and you're
inflation
not making
adjusting
as much.
means?
It doesn't matter whenever you can't pay your
Do you?
mortgage.
But the thing, once again, the purchasing power of the individual household has gone up within the past 70 years. Their standard of
Yes, and it's
living.
crippling people, and they can't get homes because right now the housing market is so screwed that people
You
can't
need to
get
give me.
get homes.
So housing has become less affordable, but that doesn't mean that poverty has increased.
I'm just trying to draw correlations between real life things. I mean, I know you're playing with numbers and shit, but
How? Wait,
I'm talking
yes.
about.
You're talking about your
But I'm
feelings
talking
about
about
real life.
how
I'm
it
talking about the
correlates
actual
to
reality.
actual people. Like, yeah, you can sit there and talk about the numbers doing this and that, but with actual people, they're paying more at the grocery store, they're paying more at the pump, they're
But
paying
they're
more for
also,
their mortgage,
sorry, but
and
they're
they're just drowning. And what America has done is giving America over to our enemies, and they're flooding America with brown and black people that are going to kill America.
if you want to see what I'm doing here, everyone. Poverty rate. It's been roughly similar, has decreased. You dipshits. Anyway,
Look up homeless rates
homelessness. Okay.
in every Democrat major city. Look up.
Wait, but that's different than in America.
Doesn't matter. The suffering is the same.
It's not though.
Open drug scenes, lawlessness, crime. Look at all that in our progressive liberal states. They have gone up 400%.
Sorry, the most. Okay. The most criminal states are red states.
Yeah, but it's not the Republicans doing it. It's the Democrats within the red states that are doing it. It's the blue cities within
That's
the
wait.
red
Sorry,
states.
that's category. So like, Kentucky has a higher criminal rate than New York. What big city? What
Yeah,
big blue city in Kentucky is causing that criminal rate?
I haven't seen any of that. You would have to show me evidence of
But
that statement.
you're entirely wrong.
No, I'm not.
Red states have higher criminal rates on average.
Probably because they have blue cities
But wait, like
within those red
what state
states.
are you talking about, for example?
Give me an example of a red state.
Kentucky.
Look it up and it'll tell you.
Name the city.
You can look it up. That
Wait,
way we're not guessing. Just type it in right quick.
wait, you're
Type it in.
guessing. I want to see how far
No,
you can guess.
I'm telling you, crime has gone up in a higher percentage in Democratic cities than it does anywhere else.
I'm just intrigued what like cities you're. Because this is a really classic narrative, and it's
Go look at New York. Say crimes
New
rate
York. You wait. Sorry,
statistics.
I'm asking about blue cities and red states. So I'm gonna give you the Fox News headline that you read. Um, what they would typically reference would be something like Atlanta in Georgia, right? They would reference
Yeah,
Atlanta in Georgia. They would maybe reference Charlotte in North Carolina, maybe, even though North Carolina's a bit in the mix. But this logic doesn't make any sense when you actually look at it. So,
show
um,
me.
but you're the one making the claim. and it's actually just on its face nonsense. So what blue city in South Carolina is causing mass impoverishedness in South Carolina? What blue Okay, yeah, I just can't have him up, unfortunately. I didn't kick him. He got flagged, which is unfortunate. I've sent out your tutorials there. If you comment those, with the attached. Okay. It's just unfortunate, isn't it? Well, everyone, we're gonna go live on the backup. But also, just give me 2 seconds. Of course I got banned on my main. Obviously, everyone knows I get banned on my main like every single time. Also, we have 15 people on the YouTube. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Very cool. Ugh. I hate this. 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 Will is absolutely one of the most well-informed young people on the scene. I'm happy that the torch has been handed to someone articulate. Hand me the torch, baby. Get me them jobs, you know? Anyway, sorry. It's just give me that torch. I need to do that stuff. I believe it's thirdway.org that has pretty good statistics on crime. Yeah. Guys, I'm moving, I'm living. Okay. Also, I'm kidding. You don't have to give me a job. 17 people watching is low. Okay. I'm gonna go live on my alt. Why does my guys? You know, I actually do really need I do really need to get like a new computer and phone because they're just not like it's not first of all not good enough camera, but second of all not good enough like processing. 20 people on it. I'm a TikTok debate leftist TikTok debater. Of course, I get banned on my main. Yes, that is very true. Also, 18 people on here. Thank you so much to the people on YouTube. Thank you so much. Very cool. It's actually so vibesy that I can go live on the YouTube, because TikTok's just going to get banned. Like it just will happen. And it's a bit devastating, isn't it? Okay, TikTok. Let's see if the appeal went through. I'll receive an update. They always do this. It's actually infuriating. Anyway, share this with people. I'm on wills.spam. We can kiss 100 boys in bars, and you can just to stop the feeling. You can banned on main. Literally hasn't been a single thing since I've been. SGG splurge. Okay, y'all send likes. Let's get going. Yeah, we gotta get a new camera, but the sound is actually pretty good. Thank you so much, Slay. Okay, let's see who we can get on here. Very cool. Appreciate it. You agree with me though?
What'd you say?
With these things up here?
Oh no, I wanted to debate you.
Oh, okay, cool. What do you? First of all, how old are you?
Oh, I'm 21.
Perfect. Okay, what'd you send a guest request to disagree with?
The pro-choice thing.
Slay. Okay. What's your take?
Well, first of all, I want to hear your take.
Yeah, so I don't believe that we should force women to give their bodies to a fetus that they don't want to give their bodies to. So by and large, because they own their body and we shouldn't, and they don't like prima facie have an obligation to give their body to their children.
Okay, so you're making like a more of a philosophical argument, yeah?
It's a legalistic, yeah. I'd call it jurisprudential.
It stems from like something that's more axiomatic to you, yeah? Something that's more philosophical.
I'd say it's an analysis of like everything's philosophical, right? All arguments are philosophical. It's kind of a meaningless statement.
But I mean, does it stem from like a moral argument you make about abortion? Because the question isn't whether like can we apply this like healthcare system. It's more like, oh, is there a like, is it immoral to?
Is there
end
any way
life
you could get a
because-
better background or like?
Yeah, I'm sorry. One sec.
Just for like the comfort of my ears and everyone else's. Yeah, you gotta need a new camera, but the sound is actually pretty good. Okay, that's chill. That's good. Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah. So mine's mainly like I just don't want the laws to say this thing. So it's it's a policy argument.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I think the question about abortion, why abortion is such like a touchy topic, is because like the question is whether we're taking a genuine life, whether we're right?
No.
Why not?
I don't care. I would have the same position regardless of if I think it's a life or not.
Why?
Because my argument doesn't stem from that. Because it's agnostic to that.
When I say life, I'm not saying like it is alive. I'm saying
It's deserving of rights.
Yes.
Whether or not this fetus is deserving of rights is irrelevant to my argumentation.
so what's your legal stance then?
Even if we give it rights, we shouldn't force women to give their body to it.
No, but like what's your cutoff? Like what's like how do you think?
So the fully
Like,
articulated legal position is that we should have any form of abortion up until the point of viability, post-viability, induction of labor, or C-section, unless there's a medical requirement.
Oh, so you don't even believe in like the 22-week standard?
I
Where
just
it's, like,
believe in
around 20 or
viability.
Huh?
Viability.
Oh, so that's even further, yeah?
Depends on the situation. I think the youngest we've ever done is 19 weeks, but it's typically 20 to 24 weeks. Youngest ever.
Well, yeah, because that's when they believe consciousness arises in the fetus, and then we generally.
No, it has
Describe
nothing to do
rights.
with the fetus, though. It has nothing to do with
Well,
the
that's-
consciousness.
Yeah, it does though.
My argument
That number
doesn't.
is arbitrary. Oh, your argument doesn't. Okay, well, I don't know if I can convince you why you should care about human life then.
No, I do care about human life. I say even if I do care about human life, it doesn't naturally derive from me caring about human life that I want to force a woman to give her body to her child. Maybe you should actually ask me what my argument is and engage with the words and argument that I make rather than like attempting to like apply a panacea of pro-life argument.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've stated
your
my
argument?
argument. I don't want to force women to give their body to a fetus that they don't want to. By and large, because they own their body and the laws should recognize their self-ownership. It's like it's a fundamental axiom of liberty that we shouldn't force people to give their body to someone they don't owe their body to.
Okay, I understand that, but so your argument stems from like the woman's rights to autonomy, bodily autonomy, then, yeah? Yes.
Bodily autonomy, I feel like, is a slight misstatement of the principles, but yeah, it's somewhat in line with that. It's primarily self-ownership.
Like your legal argument stems from this, yeah?
So once again, I feel like you're going through a PDF and saying words. I'd say primarily I'd characterize it as self-ownership, just to be extraordinarily clear. But yeah, somewhat has to do with bodily autonomy.
What's the difference, if you don't mind me asking? Like, just in case.
I feel like bodily autonomy is
position.
poorly stated because it talks about the autonomy of like using and having one's body. Like bodily autonomy looks a lot sounds to me like I can do whatever I want with my body. I can throw it around, blah blah blah. Whereas self-ownership is just more so, I think, to the point. It's to the legalistic point, which is that I have dominion over my body, and like people can conceptualize ownership that way as well. Holy shit. Like ownership,
What happened?
there was a loud ass beeping. Like,
Oh wait,
don't.
Sorry, that was coming from my phone too.
Yeah.
I think that was an Amber Alert or something. It was
Wild.
like some weird alert. My bad.
But self-ownership, like people intrinsically understand, like just the fact that I own something doesn't mean that I can do whatever I want with it. It's just that like you can't do whatever you want with it, which is kind of the point.
Okay, I understand. Why would that trump someone else's life though?
I don't think there's a contest of rights here. So I think people have a right to...
Because you don't prescribe rights to the fetus.
No, because I don't see a right of the fetus that's being violated.
Well, if you end its life, then you're violating the right to life.
Well, if I describe it as like the mother not giving her body to this fetus and the fetus dying because she's not getting the body, no, there's no right that's being violated there. The fetus doesn't have a right to the mother's body, and therefore consequences from her not giving the body to it.
Yeah, but you can't just like not consider the consequences of the actions you're taking.
You can, but the law
you're
can.
Kind of saying that to not contend with that fact, though. I feel like that's what you're doing.
No, so just the fact that my actions cause someone else to cease to be alive, doesn't mean that I'm like legalistically responsible for them. So like when I go out and don't give a kidney, or when I go out and don't give a liver.
Morally, though. I'm criticizing the morality.
Oh, I don't think abortion's necessarily moral. My position is that we shouldn't make it illegal.
Well, that's kind of absurd, no? If you think.
But you just said I'm not criticizing.
If you think if we should enshrine something that is immoral in law, don't you think that's a little bit absurd?
You just said I'm not critiquing it legally. I'm critiquing it morally. You recognize there's a distinction, and then the second I make the distinction, you're like, that's absurd. That's so bad faith, bro.
Why is it bad? Because you're saying
you just admitted that there's a relevant distinction, and you were critiquing just morally and not legally. And then the second I'm like, yeah, I'm talking just legally, you're like, well, my critique applies to the same.
But
because actually,
these things aren't discrete. These things are tied in together.
They are tied in together, but there can be cases.
I'm saying I want to critique your moral position on that thing, and you're saying, well, it might be immoral, but it should still be enshrined in law.
Yeah, that's a coherent statement.
I'm attacking that specific statement. I think it's absurd to say that. Oh, even though something might be immoral, we should enshrine it in law. That isn't. That's
okay. Do you think that like freedom? Do you think freedom of speech should be enshrined in law?
Yeah.
Do you think that freedom of speech enables people to say immoral things?
Do you think that...
Answer the question first.
Do you think freedom of speech is immoral?
Do I think freedom of speech is immoral? I mean, I have my own contentions with freedom of speech, but the legalistic background of like freedom is precisely this tension, which is that when we allow freedom, what we're allowing is for people to make immoral decisions because en masse recognizing that freedom is the moral thing for the government to do. There are two different questions here. Is it moral to do this?
That's not the legal principle of liberalism. It's not because they might do immoral things, because we generally want to avoid building a society that does immoral things. It's opposition. That's the tension you're talking about.
No, well, I didn't describe the tension entirely, but that's fine.
Sorry?
So by and large, the tension is just that there are two different questions being asked here. One is it moral for me to do this? And then the next is it moral for the government to stop me from doing this? Those are two different questions that can have two different answers. Yeah?
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
You said, is it moral for the government to stop me? Is that a moral question?
Yeah.
Is it moral for the government to pass legislation that stops me from doing this potentially moral action?
So there are two different, like, when we're talking about morals and personal ethics, the question being asked is this action that I'm engaging in a moral or ethical action? And then when we're talking within, like, moral legalism, where the question being asked is it the proper moral role of the government to stop me from doing this thing? Across a huge number of policies and a huge number of restrictions of freedom, those are the two things we're asking. And those two different questions can have two different answers, yeah? Like, it's perfectly okay. Do you agree?
I agree, but I don't think they're completely discretized.
I don't think they're discrete. I don't think they're so discretized, but you could...
I'm pretty sure, like, the morality of the legal argument stems from just the purely moral argument. These things are, like, downstream of one another.
But then there couldn't be two different answers to those. You're saying one thing and then saying it.
There's a moral argument you make, and then there's a way you apply it in legal practice, and there's
yeah, but they're different principles. But also, like, okay, this is like all freedoms as well. So like, if I say, is it moral for me to like espouse white supremacy on here? Espouse white supremacy or espouse horrendous views. No, it's not moral for me to do that. Should the law allow me to do it? Yeah, probably. You know, but like that's the whole point. Is there's a difference between a personal moral ethic and a legalistic jurisprudential ethic.
But that's still criticized morally, and there's still like legal practice that criticizes that action morally. Like
but there can be but it's not.
This legal practice isn't just the United States. Like the United States is pretty unique in its like speech laws. Like if you look at Europe, support the Third Reich, or in any way, that can also get you into legal trouble. Like, these things are still addressed legally because we want to avoid moral action.
But you
that's
can
like the
agree that it's
main
not. These
principle.
aren't. It's not incoherent to say this is a bad thing to do, but the law should allow it. Like we can say there are critiques about where we draw those lines or how we have those discussions or precisely how it's done. But you would agree that like basically every legal system has some type of line where they say, okay, this is immoral, but we're still going to allow it.
But I don't know if that's the argument that supports the, like, when people argue about, for example, the use of drugs or why drugs should be
But
legalized.
I'm
People
sorry, are
in
you
that
going to
camp,
answer
they
the?
don't. Wait, one sec. One sec. Let me just finish the analogy, right? They don't. And from that camp, they don't say, oh well, it's immoral, but we should at least be allowed to do it. They say that drugs are not immoral, and they make a moral argument for the case of drugs, and that's why it should be legalized.
But I
Not
feel that you're
because,
not arguing with
oh,
me. This is like the biggest straw man. Who gives a shit what the argument is?
well, I'm saying you're not engaging in a fruitful practice. I'm saying it doesn't make sense to allow potentially immoral things enshrined in government. Like, what would your stance on free speech be? You said you have contentions with free speech.
But I'm
Is
saying
it
I
not
agree with. So
is
like
it
the
not
thing
the
is,
specific contentions that we talked about, like espousing hate?
like I agree with. There are limitations on this in every single thing, depending on the justificatory principle of where you think government should be. But there are two different questions with two different answers. It's not inherently incoherent to have one answer to the other, to one and the other. Freedom of religion is a great example of this as well, right? If you ask every single person, right, if you ask all the Protestants in Congress if they think being Catholic is immoral, they're probably going to say, yeah, I think it's immoral because it's wrong. And they're not going to heaven. Sucks. Like, that's like what it means to believe in this religion. But it's not the proper role of government to
Okay, but
change
no,
this moral action.
okay, are these theologians advocating for a religious society, like specific, like
That's my
for
whole
the church to
point.
be in the state?
That's
Be
my
church
whole
in the
point.
state?
Is
I'm saying
they
are
have
doing
their
that,
own
though.
personal moral ethic, and they
And I'm
can
saying they
argue
do that with
about
strength,
and this is the whole point, is there's a limitation on what government should enforce a personal moral ethic.
okay, but that's not their view. You're saying with your analysis of it, but their view is they want to elect people that are more religious and push more theocratic
No, but they don't
beliefs
think it's the
onto the
job of
U.S.
the
government.
government to make illegal other religions, even if doing those
Okay, but
religions is
that's not a
immoral.
theological point of view, though. That's the liberal principle they espouse to them.
You're not okay. I mean, you're not at this point. You're not disagreeing with me, or you're not saying anything coherent.
I'm not. No, I am disagreeing because you obviously it's important to like separate these two things, right? Like the moral practice of the legislation you want to apply and like the actual moral question. I'm arguing that these things are directly downstream of one another. Like
Wait, that's
the moral
nonsense.
argument you
That's a
make
nonsense. Like
is meant to inform that. Is it not? You're saying it's completely separate. It doesn't inform
I never.
the
Once again,
legal
this is why you're
basis?
saying you're not arguing with me. I never said they were completely separate.
You did though, and I was the one saying
No, I
that
didn't.
there's a lot in between there.
You
They're tied
you
together.
felt like I said that. I never said they were completely separate. I explicitly denied that they were completely discretized.
Okay, so
I
let's go
said
back
they
to
were
the
two
statement where
different
you said
questions.
you can
I said they
enshrine
were
things that
two
are
different.
immoral.
I said there were two different questions that had two different answers.
Okay. So how is what you just said supporting this idea where you should maybe allow immoral things in government?
Because they're two different questions with two different answers, and the question of what we should use the government to do is different than what an individual moral ethic is. So a person's individual moral ethic can inform how they view about this thing, and it does, right? This is what courts do all the time, is the judge says, yeah, this is a bad thing, right? So we're going to treat it more harshly or do this type of legalism or whatever, right? But still, the fundamental thing is regarding the laws and what the role of the laws are. So yes, they have to do with each other, but this is where downstream is weird. We don't the starting point of the abortion debate is not whether any legislator would personally do it. That's not the starting point. The starting point is the role of government as it relates to this issue. And so, like, two different starting points. You don't start with whether the person thinks it's morally wrong. We would think it's a bad legislator to start from the position of freedom of religion with their own religion, right? That would be a bad thing generally for them to do. The starting point is the role of government because they're working in the government. We're asking about qualities of the government. So I don't think they're downstream from each other, but I think they have to do with each other in like complicated and intermixed ways. But the analysis we're doing is it the role of the government? Should the government be doing this thing? And yes, it has to do with a personal moral ethic.
How are they tied in together? The two questions that we're asking, how are they tied in together?
It depends
Because
on the
in my mind,
context.
personally, I would say the moral question is answered first, and we take aspects or themes from how we answer that moral question, and we build legislation from those themes, from those questions we answered.
No, I think that
does that make
mischaracterizes
sense?
what a lot of law does.
Huh?
Like, is it immoral to
I feel like all law stems from that. Like, can you give me a law that doesn't stem from that?
land registry?
Was there a moral question about land registry?
Not really.
Okay, well, things that are. Well, I mean,
Things
there
that
still
agree with
is,
you.
like, huh?
Things that agree with you is what the qualification you were going to add. Land. So like the reason I point to land registry is because like it's like literally just bureaucratic. It's like a functioning. It's illegal to not register your land, but like, is it immoral to not register your land? Not really. Like we
I mean,
obviously
doesn't
didn't
that
start.
kind
Like
of
obviously
play
the
into
government
social
didn't.
contract, though? No, okay, not to be. You don't think I'm being obtuse, but doesn't that kind of play into the social contract that there's a specific thing you submit to the government, so you can also retain the rights that they've espoused to you?
So that the opener.
There's-
That's the thing.
There's
Is
still
the
stems in a moral question to that.
there stems one, but the point is
That's
it?
what I'm saying.
No. They clearly started with, okay, the role of government is to do this thing, right? We're building this government with these certain qualities.
No. They start from the social contract. That's like the basis.
The
of
social
liberalism. It's
contract
like
is the creation of the government.
no, I don't believe that's true. I think.
Did
the
you
social
read
contract
Locke?
is just a philosophical argument. Yeah, I did. It's a philosophical argument to argue why a group of people can be collaborative and protect their own property and their own rights.
Which is the formation of the original polity out of the state of nature, which is government.
Exactly. What do you mean? I don't believe he's like he's not suggesting a governmental system there.
He is.
He's arguing a philosophical principle
On the
would
foundation of
allow
government.
a democratic, yeah, obviously the foundation of this legal system is moral. Obviously, that's what I'm saying.
No, but like the social contract is the
That's
creation.
not a legal argument, though. The social contract is not a legal argument. Who was the person that inspired Locke? What was his name? Do you know? I forget his name.
What?
But he
I mean, a
also
shit
had-
ton of people.
he also had this-
Aristotle, like.
No, the one right before him. The one right preceding him, who also argued state of nature. I think he introduced the concept.
Wait, but this is weird. Like, the creation of the polity is precisely what I'm talking about. It is a moral question, but it's not one of personal ethic, really. Are you talking about Hobbes?
Oh yeah, Thomas Hobbes. Yeah, you're right.
But the thing is like,
because when Thomas Hobbes argued this idea of state of nature and the social contract, he said the only equalizing factor between all people was sleep. So even like this policy, this sort of philosophy still works because even the ones that are strong in society are still equalized by this factor of sleep. That's not a legal argument he's making. He's making a philosophical argument which he builds this legal thing.
But it's not really about like personal. Anyway, like when I'm talking about this, is when a legislator is thinking
I'm not
about.
talking about personal ethics either.
When a legislator is saying, okay, we should have a land registry, they don't open with, it is immoral to not register your land. They open with, there's this goal that the government wants to have. We want to protect the right to property because that's the proper role of government or something. And then we get this secondary obligation. We need land registry. And therefore it's immoral to not register your land because the government has done this thing which protects property rights. So the conversation didn't start with land registry being immoral, not registering your land being immoral. Actually, it wasn't because there was no such. But the thing, yeah, exactly. But the thing is like because there's some moral goal of the government that they are protecting. But that's different than starting with the personal ethic.
Okay, but either way, the end result.
But this is the whole distinction.
No. But this land registry is still justified morally. No.
That's my whole point. Yeah, I know. Of course, you have to justify the actions of government morally. This is what I've said.
Exactly. So that means abortion necessitates. Like, if you want abortion legislation, you have to have a moral argument for it. Then, no.
I have a moral argument, and the moral argument is one of a legal nature. It's not one of a personal ethic nature. This is my whole point. Is the argument for land registry, for example?
That's really circular. You don't think so?
What's circular? What's the premise? That's the conclusion. Go.
or not circular. It just kind of sounds circular. It's like circular vibes. You feel me? You're saying
No,
it is a
it's because
moral
you don't.
argument, but
It's
a
either
legal
you don't
argument.
understand it, actively don't understand it, or are misrepresenting it.
What does that mean?
It gives vibes of being wrong because you don't understand it. No. Basically, I'm saying there is a moral justification for this, but it's not on the personal ethic description that you're giving. There are two different questions. Both of them are of a moral nature. One is regarding the proper role of government, and one is regarding a personal moral ethic. On some scale, is the proper role of government a personal moral ethic? Maybe, but it's still a more applied, more specific personal moral ethic.
But you understand that every single law we have could be justified through a personal moral ethic. You're saying abortion is the one that we can't?
Once again, that wasn't the claim. Land registry cannot be justified on a personal moral ethic ground. It obviously wasn't.
On the social contract.
But that's not a personal moral ethic claim. That's not a personal moral ethic claim.
You were signing on to the most. That's why it's a contract. You personally signed on to this contract. That's why you're agreeing not to kill other people.
Did you personally sign on to the social contract?
Implicitly, yeah. That's why.
Implicitly. Did a toddler socially?
I live in society, don't I? I use these roads.
Did a toddler sign on to the social contract?
We don't prescribe the same rights to a toddler.
Not the same, but we do prescribe some.
Huh?
But we do prescribe some.
Some, but they can't sign. Would you let a toddler sign any contract?
No, but therefore it doesn't. First of all, social contract theory is flawed. But second of all, for this reason precisely, it doesn't really make sense. But secondarily, that's not a personal moral ethic claim. It's about the proper role of government. When we're saying, okay, there's this contract that exists, there's this polity that exists. I don't think you actually read Locke, because the social contract is about the formation of the polity out of the state of nature. Then you don't.
His moral justification for his legal system he's proposing.
Yes, this is my whole point. Yes, this is my whole point. Anyway.
That's also my point.
Okay, this is why I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
So the primary question, when I say, okay, when we say you should have a land registry system, it wouldn't make sense for a legislature to then say, is it immoral for you not to register your land? For you not to register.
Optics right now?
That discussion didn't open with the specific moral claim of whether it was wrong to not register with land. The structure you said was that you first asked the personal moral ethic claim, right? Which in this case would be, is it more I'm putting this in a really basic light. Is it immoral to do this thing? That's the start under your construction. That is obviously not how they got to land registry. That is so obvious. They did not open with, is it immoral to not register your land? What they opened with is, the government should do this thing, organize property rights. How are we going to do it? And then we get legal imperatives and systematic imperatives from that system that's built. So your construction is too basic to describe how the government works. If you want to revise your construction, that's fine. And we can characterize a huge amount of other things as personal moral ethics. That's fine. If you want to say joining the social contract is the personal moral ethic you meant.
I understand the criticism.
Okay.
I understand. But what I would rebuttal and say is, you're saying it didn't start with the personal moral ethic. I'm saying it did start. The conversation always implicitly starts, right, with this moral justification. If something doesn't have
everything's a moral justification, yeah. I never said it didn't have a moral justification. I explicitly said that my argument was a moral nature.
Okay, but you're saying it's not a personal moral ethic. That's your distinction, yeah?
Not the personal moral ethic in the sense that you're talking.
Okay, but I'm also not discussing personal moral ethics.
No, but in the sense that you're talking I have to say, the thing is this is the thing, is you're talking in the sense that if you can't say that the action itself is moral or immoral, you can't have a law regarding it. That's incorrect. To say, everything...
Wait, what was your characterization of what I said?
Is if you can't say that you said the conversation starts with the personal moral ethic of the action itself.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
Yes.
Wrong.
Okay. No. What was your example you used?
I didn't use an example. I said it in different words.
Oh, my bad.
So the thing is like if your critique ends with, and you can't think that something is immoral but ought to be permissible under the law, we disagree here. Do you? So I'll ask you the direct question, just because like I think I don't know what's happening here. One of us is deaf.
Okay, do you want me to? Okay, let me reframe.
No, sorry. I want a direct answer. Is it
Okay.
is it coherent? Can it be coherent to say, I think this thing is immoral, but the law should permit it?
Okay, can I explain or no?
You start with yes, no, and then explain.
It is coherent, but in specific cases, right? Because there's a practical limit to the application of a moral idea, and one example of that is free speech. That like the complication is these people that espouse hate. Obviously, that's a complication with free speech, but it's just that, a complication. We apply free speech for practical reasons because the benefits way outweigh the cons, but there's still a moral question as to why should we allow this type of hate speech, and that has been answered in some European countries. That's like an ongoing debate. You understand? But
yes,
that doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive for a legal system that minimizes the amount of moral action in society. You don't agree?
So okay.
First of all, this is like a broader question. You believe your personal moral ethics is superior to others, right? Isn't that like a natural conclusion to come to? Because why else would you believe them? Like your moral compass, whatever you want to call it, it's better than others, right?
Yeah, but that's not the same as believing that they should be applied to everyone. Because you can have the concept of deference to others. Do you know what deference is?
No, I don't. I mean, like, I'm guessing it's a difference of preference, but I'm saying
no, it's not. This is really important.
Okay, go ahead.
Deference is like a judicial concept that like they allow other entities. So like I don't know how. Anyway, they allow other entities to make their own decisions because they're more apt at making it. Like there's a practical and knowledge-based reason to say, okay, I hold my morals based on what I know and what I've experienced. But I trust that other people have good reasons for disagreeing with me, and therefore I should strive for the system that maximizes possible morals, not maximizes coherence to what I currently hold. You know?
Maximizes maximizes the morals?
Maximizes like coherence to like whatever we like to strive to cohere to moral principles, not necessarily those moral principles that I agree with currently. You know, it's kind of like a derivative. Third order observation.
Of specific laws where there is like personal preference that are prescribed.
No,
but you don't think so?
I was preempting the argument you were making, which is that I should want to enforce my morals on everyone unilaterally, and that's why I hold them. No, there's a separate. Once again, there's a segregation between these two questions.
But you're semantically loading this. Enforce your morals onto people. That's not what I'm saying.
I believe there is a just segregation between what the government ought to enforce and what I personally would do.
Okay, for example, like the law that makes it illegal to unalive people, right? That's a personal moral ethic of yours. Like you do not want to.
But I didn't derive that because I think it's wrong. I derive that because just qualities of the government, yes, but primarily qualities of the government. So the question I would have to justify to justify unaliving being illegal would not be, do I think unaliving is immoral? The question I would have to justify is, do I think it's moral for the government to stop them from doing this? And that takes both. What?
There's no personability to this. There's no personal. The question is not, do I think? The question is it wrong to unalive people?
Okay, that's fine. I don't think that's sufficient to say that the government should stop it either. I don't know how many times I have to repeat that. And I don't think you should think it's sufficient. If you ask a Protestant if it's wrong to be a Catholic, they're going to say, yeah. But does that mean that all of them believe? Or does that mean that all of them necessarily have to believe in a theocracy? No.
Okay, but these are not perfect Catholic agents, right?
But even if they were a perfect Catholic agent...
Weren't the most hardcore, steadfast Catholic to their beliefs espouse ideas that would outlaw other religions, or at least to their religious code? submit them to their religious
It
code?
depends. I mean, there are religions that don't want,
Because if they don't, well, obviously, I'm saying to the Catholic, as much as the Catholic religion
but it
espouses,
depends on your
you know?
interpretation of Catholicism. This is what I'm saying is like different moral ethics have different views of what government should do that are different than what you would want yourself to do.
So, are you saying there's no moral truth value to any legislation?
No, I'm saying it's a different moral question. All questions of ought are moral questions. It's just different than if I would do it and if the government should do it. They're different questions, and there's different analyses to be done on the two different questions that can have two different answers and be coherent.
Okay. Going back to pro-choice, right? Here's the thing. I'll start from your end and I'll work backwards, right? Because I could see why there's a lot of awesome things that come with abortion, right? There's like, it safeguards.
Start with the
women
arguments
against-
I made.
Huh?
Start with the arguments I made. If you argue, some people say this, or the argument is this, or I could see why this is the argument.
Okay,
I'm gonna
the
just
argument
focus
you made,
on my
I'm pretty
snake
sure was
play.
that you don't think women should be forced to, because they have, not bodily autonomy, bodily ownership.
Sure.
You don't think they should be forced to carry the fetus, yeah?
To give their body to the fetus, more specifically, but yeah.
Exactly. First of all, I don't see how that's a legal argument. I'm pretty sure that's a moral argument. That's your moral justification, no?
No, I'm describing the legal principles on moralistically justified grounds. But as I said, it was a jurisprudential argument, which is a moral argument through legal terms and applications.
What is the legal term there? Is it bodily ownership? Is that the legal term?
Self-ownership is a legal application. Talking about what the laws should say is a legal application.
Okay, but I'm saying morally it is incorrect to kill a fetus, right? Because morally I prescribe rights to this fetus. So
Okay, I
there's a
don't
conflict of
disagree.
rights that I'm... Huh?
I don't disagree. I don't care.
You don't disagree, you don't care. Okay.
I like the thing. Yeah, it is not sufficient that it's wrong to kill the fetus.
Do you believe the fetus has an equivalent right to life than a toddler?
I don't believe in a right to
That's
life per
my
se.
point.
So, do they have an equivalent
Right
right
to
to life
life.
as a toddler? Yeah, because neither of them have a right to life per se.
Why don't you have a right to life?
I don't really know what a right to life would mean.
What do you mean? Like you have the right to not have your life transgressed upon.
Transgressed upon, that's fascinating. I have the right to have my property not transgressed upon as well. It seems to focus on the right to property rather than the life itself. So there's nothing special about a rights violation that ends a life by comparison to a rights violation that, harms you or whatever. They're both rights violations, prima facie. So really we should be focusing on the rights violations. So
Which is right to life, no?
No. So there are things that could end in me not being alive that wouldn't be rights violations. If someone doesn't give me their food and I end up starving, that's not a prima facie right violation because none of my rights were violated, and yet I still ended up dead. So therefore, the rights violation cannot be me not being alive anymore.
But do you hear how I clarified? I said you have the right to not have your life transgressed upon.
Exactly, that's my point. So it's not about the life really; it's about the transgression. It doesn't make sense to have a right to a right. You just have the right individually. So you have the right to not have your life transgressed upon. What transgression is really going to be the key?
I mean that's that's what's meant by the right to life, though.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's a more precise way. But I think it falsely centers life. We should talk about what rights you would be transgressing upon.
Okay.
So which ones are you talking about with the fetus?
The right to life.
No, but you're saying the right to life is the right to not have your rights not transgressed upon such that you die. But there are subsidiary rights that you're referencing there that distinguish it from someone not giving me food and I'm dying.
The right to life is the right not to be transgressed upon.
What does it mean to transgress upon someone?
Like cause bodily harm, kill them.
So I have the right I have the right to not have bodily harm.
And you have the right to not be killed.
Okay,
exactly.
Sorry, but someone can cause bodily harm to me by not giving me food.
That is no way you just said.
Does me starving?
That's not causing harm.
Really?
Is it morally neutral to not give food to someone, or is it morally bad?
Sorry, we're talking. So you wait. No. If it causes harm is not a morally loaded term. Cause. What does cause mean? There is harm. There is harm, right? I'm starving. The question is whether they caused that harm. I would say they caused it because, but for me not giving the food, I would be harmed. So
that doesn't really make any sense. Like you would not apply this principle in any other situation.
It's not a principle. It's like a linguistic description. It also is the legal definition of cause. So like I don't know.
Why wouldn't you donate that sweater to someone in Africa?
Once again, you're morally loading my terms when I'm not morally loading them.
I'm not morally loading anything.
Okay, then don't ask me. Why don't ask me an odd question when I'm asking a linguistic question? What I mean by cause is I caused something. If but for my actions, that thing wouldn't have happened.
Okay.
So I caused.
You took no action though. You took no action.
Yeah, inaction is an action. I don't buy the inaction distinction.
Okay, so if you're on here's this mental exercise for you. It's the trolley question, yeah, and it's heading up to 5 people. You think it's immoral not to pull the lever?
This isn't. You're explicitly morally loading this. This isn't a moral question.
Well, it is though.
I've told you it's not.
Well, I'm gonna apply it linguistically. I'm gonna ask you: did this person cause these 5 people to die?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand. Like, he did not initiate any process that was gonna cause them to die.
But for your actions, they'd be alive.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense linguistically. There's like cause. Like there's an initiation going on. He initiated a process that led to this. You telling me this person not doing anything is an initiation of them being unalive on the track?
But this is the thing. It's like I have linguistic things.
It's incoherent.
Okay. It's not incoherent. You disagree with it. There's nothing incoherent about it.
No, it is.
Okay, what's incoherent about it? Like, what's logically internally inconsistent about it?
I'm saying to cause, right?
You disagree. Sorry, tell me what's incoherent about my concept.
Yeah, I'm saying to cause is to initiate a process.
I know you're saying you're saying you have a disagreement. You're saying you disagree. You're saying you have a different definition. Sorry, you having a different definition is not proving that my definition is incoherent.
So what's your definition of cause?
I said it, but for my actions or inactions, this thing wouldn't have happened.
Well, you didn't say but for my actions or inactions.
I clarified because I consider inactions actions.
But you're just expanding your definition then. Like I don't understand.
So that's the definition. What's incoherent about the definition?
Okay, well then it's just like a really poorly like the extrapolations to that make no sense because I'm pretty sure.
What doesn't make? Are you not understanding or you disagree?
No, I disagree.
Okay, then don't say they're not making sense.
I don't think anyone ever uses cause that way.
Well, I mean, I can cite about probably 30 or 40 legal cases where they do, but it is a very, 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 very.
Example? Can you give me an example where they use cause that way?
So the but-for test is one of the most prevalent cases of cause. But-for test. UK law. I can get the examples up here. Yeah, it's the but-for test is the standard use in UK law to determine causation in negligence claims. Causation in English.
Is it before action and inaction, or is it before action?
So it's negligence. So inaction.
I don't know if that's true.
Do you know what negligence is?
Okay, but like negligence is like malicious inaction.
No.
What do you mean?
No, it does. You're wrong. Malice. Wrong. Malice is not a necessary element of negligence. I may have failed tort law, but I know that's not true.
At least you have to have a responsibility.
Yeah. In order for you to be legally culpable, but causation. So okay. It's part of the proximity. It's part of the proximity one. So causation. The 3 tests in negligence are duty, remoteness, and causation. You're saying, yeah, in order to be liable legally, you need a duty. But when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about causation. Causation is separate from duty. So you can cause something without having a duty to stop it.
You still didn't give me a legal argument as to why cause means also inaction, bro.
Because that's the definition, brother. That's wait, you've agreed. That's the definition. So like so this is the standard definition in UK tort law. Okay? That's what I mean when I say it. You understand what I mean. So you can say there should be a different definition. We can talk about it, but that would just be you saying I don't want to use the words you're using. That's fine. I'll make up a new fucking word. I'll make it like goobity-gork, and that's the but-for test. Like, we can use different words, but this isn't an actual argument that's worth speaking.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll move on, but I'm just saying, I feel like no, I feel like I've never heard someone use the word cause like that, but okay.
Yeah, you've never studied law. That's why. That's fine. But
yeah, not law personally, but yeah.
Okay, so this is the whole point.
Back to pro-choice.
Well, yeah, we are on pro-choice anyway. I don't know why I keep going down this. Okay, so by and large, where did we start with the causation argument?
Because you're saying that, like, oh, if you can do an abortion, there's no conflict of rights because you're just causing this fetus to die. You're not actually.
Oh, no. It would be more analogous to I have no duty to continue keeping this fetus alive in this particular manner. So for negligence, right? They're dying because they're not getting something in action. So we typically talk about maybe she caused it, but she doesn't have a duty to continue giving her body to the child. Basic form. I mean, that's not the typical form that I'm using. I'm just using the words immediately available to me.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, I understand. First of all, I wouldn't consider. I feel like abortion would be like an active act. It's not like due to negligence or due to.
It's an action to cause inaction.
No,
I mean,
like
the abortion pill.
You're initiating a process that leads to that. It's like pulling.
That's extremely vague, right? When I have intercourse, I'm initiating a process that also ends in abortion.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's vague to the point of uselessness. When I'm talking about action versus inaction, the thing that causes the child's death is not a rights violation per se. You're not going in and stabbing it when you use the abortion pill. What you're doing is you're cutting off the resources. So in order for cutting off the resources to be a rights violation, they have to have a right to the resources. This is why this is what I was trying to get at.
An abortion pill is cutting off of resources. Is that how it works? Doesn't it just induce a period?
So the first one cuts off resources. The second one induces a period. You're thinking of Plan B. I'm talking about misoprostol and mifepristone.
My bad. Okay, so like, isn't Plan B like an active action then?
But Plan B isn't the abortion pill.
So what does an abortion pill do again? Sorry.
Cuts off resources to the child.
I don't understand how you don't understand this. I don't understand how you're framing this to not be a transgression. Like.
Well, so okay, if I
Like your argument doesn't lend to that at all.
So this is like we needed to.
It's not negligence. Sorry. I'm sorry. I keep cutting off. My bad. Keep going.
So like this is why it was kind of important to set out the basic structure here. Is if there's food on the table that you're reaching towards, and I take it, and then you starve without food, right? That's only bad if you had a right to the food. Yeah? Like I only did like if I steal from you and then you die because I stole from you, I'm responsible for that death in some way, form, or fashion, like kind of, depending on what I steal from you. Right? I have to violate something you have a right to for me to be responsible for the consequences there.
Okay.
So when the mother stops giving her resources, that's only like a legal bad, something that we would punish her for, prima facie, if the fetus has a right to her resources.
Okay.
Which I don't think he does. The fact that it will die without the resources does not give it a right to those resources per se. So the fact that it dies does not itself justify that a violation was committed. In the same way that if you're reaching for the food and it's my food and I take it and then you die of starvation, even if I knew you were going to die of starvation when I took my food, I didn't transgress upon you because it's my shit. So the simple fact that they die...
There's a little jump between the way you're analogizing it, though, no?
I'm just trying to describe a very simple concept. It's not a direct analog. You can make an argument, but you understand the concept I'm making. So what you have to do is say why a mother has an obligation to give her body to her fetus. Where's that obligation come from? Because prima facie, they don't have it. You would agree that prima facie, I don't owe anything to anyone, by and large. Like, I don't have to give my body I don't have to give nutrients to anyone.
No, I really I don't agree with that. No, I don't agree that like. Okay, and I'll give you a mental exercise. Okay. Assume that you are a woman. Actually, no, not you. Let's say there is a woman X. Okay.
A woman.
And yeah,
Yes.
right. And then she is living like, or she just like wakes up in a cabin, right?
Okay.
Yeah. This argument's gonna boil down to why I don't think you're allowed to be like just like like abrasedly like negligent, by the way. But like I'm just saying, if she just wakes up and she just sees a baby crying there, right? Just like that, and then the cabin's locked and blah blah blah. It's this crazy scenario, blah blah blah. But all she has to do is like make a bottle of formula and feed the kid. I'm pretty sure it'd be immoral if she didn't do that. She just watched the baby.
It's not
die.
illegal though.
I'm saying it's immoral.
Okay. I'm saying
You just
abortion
said-
is immoral.
Abortion is
Womp
immoral.
womp.
Abortion is immoral.
Yeah. By and large, if you give it rights, which like fine.
But you do prescribe it rights.
Yeah, exactly. So I think within the context of this argument, I've conceded that abortion is immoral. I've said that like 10 million times.
Well, no, you said there's a possibility. You kind of tiptoeing around it.
I said explicitly I'm not making the moralistic personal ethic claim. We spent like 30 minutes on this. Because I don't think so. I mean, I explicitly said like within. I explicitly. I mean, if you knew any, first of all, if you knew anything about the argumentations I'm making and have made for the past 3 years, none of them have been trying to justify the personal ethic morality of abortion. I made this extremely clear. I didn't tiptoe around my like thing. I said on the contention that we give it rights, which within the context of this argument we are, it's immoral.
Okay, I mean.
So why are you wasting my time? Why are you doing this? Like why you we've received.
You thought that whole conversation was a waste of time.
I think what you just said was a waste of time. I think what you just said, is it immoral for them to not do this? Yeah, waste of time. You know I don't think abortion is immoral. So making a moral argument like that is useless. We're talking about the laws, so make an actual analog that I could actually engage in.
Well, okay, well here's the thing. Like Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but the whole conversation we had is why the moral question is important. Why? Okay, you don't want to. You said it's not relevant.
You know what would be the most direct analog you could make?
Why it should be relevant to your legal standard.
That's an argument you have to make, but it's not a critique until you make that connection directly.
The entire time. That's why we
No, but it's a connection you have to make. So when you say, like when you make an analog, it's obviously a closer analog. If I think there's a principal distinction between what is moral and what the law ought to prescribe, right? It is obviously a closer analog to continue within these superstructures of legality than to engage with the subsidiary superstructure of morality, obviously. No other person's comment is a waste of time. It's a viewpoint you respect. It's a waste of time if it has nothing to do with what I'm saying. I'm not a tree hugging liberal, my love. I'm so sorry. But anyway,
I'm also not offended. It's fine.
Yeah.
Take that.
So the thing is like, also we don't have a disagreement there. It's immoral for me not to go out and give as much blood as I can. It's immoral for me not to go out and give my liver to anyone. It's not immoral for me not.
I don't believe in that.
Okay, we can have disagreements there, but once again, it's immoral for me not to help a kid that's right next to me. Whatever the line you draw on that shit, fine. I'm talking about whether like the proper place of government is to force you to do that. By and large, I don't think it is, and that's why I don't think we should like force those things.
Okay. I understand, but it's also you're also acting like there's no like wiggle room there because you're just saying, oh, it's immoral not to help this person. I'm saying the woman is doing a murder, right?
No, she's not doing a murder. Also, oh my goodness.
My bad.
I would like to hear Will's perspective on self-defense being compared to abortion. I don't think abortion's violence, so I don't think it's comparable to self-defense. I think maybe the medical requirements like look like that when you're doing like suction and such. Also, you driving?
Why wouldn't that be a murder?
Well, murder's a legal term that it just describes the fact of like legality.
Okay, why wouldn't that be an unjustified unaliving?
I think it's an unjustified unaliving.
You do think it's not?
That's why I think it's immoral.
Okay. So you believe it's a transgression?
No, I don't think it's a transgression per se. I just think it's unjustified.
I'm just having such a hard time.
Are you
Seeing
having
how
a hard?
you
So
are like
then
I'm having
let's
a hard
spend
time seeing how
time.
you're
Let's spend
morally and internally consistent with yourself.
let's
I feel
spend
like you
time.
will
So
not
okay, sorry,
violate
I don't
this
like
if
this
you.
language, and it really pisses me off. Actually, if you don't understand, clarify. If you disagree, argue. But it looks like you're disagreeing using the language of misunderstanding. There are two distinct ways to engage in a discussion, and it was really I don't want to teach you 1 second and then have you make some random irrelevant argument the next. If you want to understand my position more, ask. If you have an actual critique that actually applies to it, make it. Do you see where that's
Okay.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say, right? And this is not a direct attack on you, but I'm just saying this is what it comes off to me like. It comes off strange. I'll say strange or weird that you would hold this belief that something is immoral, right? But you would allow it. Now, I understand the argument you made before about free speech, but I'm pretty sure when it comes to free speech, it's like there is a moral quality to it that is good, and there's a smaller moral quality to it that is bad. But if you're saying that abortion is immoral, full stop, then I don't understand what the justification would be to allow it in law. Because the argument
I think hate speech is bad, full stop.
That trumps everything you said about transgressing on the woman's body. If you already think it's immoral, because that doesn't make any sense then. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So okay. I think hate speech is bad, full stop. We could make it illegal. You're just drawing a line. First of all, I don't think that's my argument for free speech.
Isn't it illegal where you live right now, hate speech?
Depends. I mean, we have hate speech laws. We don't have as much hate speech laws as maybe I'd like. Once again, there are scales to this, and I think it's just about the scale, freedom.
So you want more hate speech laws? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I was trying. But the thing is, I wasn't making an argument from the strength of from the strength of freedom of speech. This is why I separate arguments with educating. I was trying to make sure you understood the conceptual distinction that I was making.
And I appreciate it.
And you agree with it. So the analog I'm trying to make to help you understand isn't critiquing the actual argument. I think this, and the actual premise of my argument is you should own your body. Prima facie, we don't owe our body to anyone. And any obligation that it's just a form argument. Okay? It's you want to.
We can start there then.
But the thing is, let me try and make this very, very clear. You want to imbue these underlying principles with case-specific morality. I want to make a obligational exception on case-specific morality. So when we're talking about transgressions, so when we're talking about transgressions, there's a question of if cutting off someone's radio waves is a transgression of their land. Is cutting off someone's access to light a transgression of their land, right? So when we talk about that, we would say,
we don't think it's never cutting off someone's life. That's the question, right?
No, but once again, I'm saying when we're talking about this, we don't change our understanding of what property is or what rights are. We fit new novel approaches into this concept of rights. And so when I say prima facie, I own my own body, and the only time where I should be obliged to give my body to someone is when
facie as in it's on its face. That's what that means, yeah.
Yeah, the primary principle, right? The primary principle is that I own my own body, and then
can I criticize that then? Since that's the basis of your argument, yeah.
It's the first principle. I think. You don't think there should be a base principle of government that critique it. That doesn't mean it applies in all cases. That just means that's first principle. It's not really a claim in and of itself. It's specific to the point. I don't know if this is where you want to hang your hat.
I mean, it would be because it's very relevant. Like you're saying, people have ownership over their body, as in they have a right not to exert their own labor for something that's not what they want, or a right to their bodily resources. They have ownership over that. But then, I don't believe you think that, because after a fetus is born, for example, it would be absurd to think it would be moral for a mother not to exert some of her body to help care for the fetus. No.
Yet again, you're mixing terms.
You would expect the mother
moral to or ought to be legal.
Morally.
then it's irrelevant to my claim. You're hitting
Okay,
like my
legally.
14th reason at this point.
Okay, then legally as well.
I think the
Could you,
so I think the legal obligations of
what did you believe in a legal standard where you wouldn't have mothers neglecting their children?
yeah, but I found that obligation on different actions.
Being
That's the
what?
thing. It's like this is interesting. It's like there's a first principle, and then we found obligations to use those rights in certain ways off of different actions.
So how would you enforce this? A woman, and like using her body forcibly to care for her kids after they're born.
Yeah,
What's
so
the
by and large, I think they don't have, once again, the prime principle is they don't have to. The secondary principle is that if they take it away from society's care, like this is, I say this is a, what is that called? What is the term? There's a certain term for this type of obligation. But it's when you deny opportunities to someone else. So when I take the child home from the hospital, I'm denying it the opportunities that the state is offering. Or when I take it away from the State Department, whatever the fuck, wherever I give birth, I'm denying it the opportunities of the good, meaning state. And therefore, when I deny opportunities to someone, I owe them.
Wait, what do you mean when you take it away from them?
So if I give birth in a hospital, for example,
okay,
there are government agencies there that'll take it from me right then and there, right? And so when I say, nah, queen, I'm going to go home with this child, going home with that child gives you an obligation to that child because you've denied them opportunities of other people. I think that action can found an obligation. Just like I can sign a contract and that can found an obligation. I can commit a tort. I can hurt someone and found an obligation. I would put this kind of the category of like pseudo tort or like pseudo contract. It's somewhere in there.
I mean,
but yeah, that's where I think the
but then-
obligation
okay,
comes
but
from.
then-
That's
okay,
not
but
a
then-
critique
and
of my.
this-
That's not a
sorry.
critique of my framework, right? That's just an extrapolation of my framework. This is what I was saying: is I can found obligations that are justified in relation to
understand.
this, without breaking the principle. What I'm asking for you
I
to do is
understand.
found a similar obligation to the fetus.
Oh, no, I understand, but then I would also argue that in a situation where there is no government, you would still obligate the mother to do this more.
Who would?
I believe so. You would. You would, no?
Then I would be a government.
You would think it would be morally good of her to do this.
I think
it would
it's
be
more.
a moral bad if she did not do this.
I always think it's moral bad.
I'm saying
Regardless.
in a situation where there's no hold on.
When
How
there's
would you
no
apply-
government, there's no legal argument to be had. You need to remember having a legal argument.
Okay, so would you morally argue this woman is enforced?
Is enforced
to
by
use her
who?
body to. Do you understand what I say?
By
Enforced?
a government.
Is morally obligated to. Is morally obligated.
Once
to.
again, I think they're morally obligated anyway. I think they're morally obligated not to get an abortion. This isn't the discussion being had. I don't know where he's gone. There we are. Hello.
Or no?
Yellow.
Oh, you can hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what's happening, Queen. Whenever you go off the app, I can't see or hear you, just to be clear.
We're good now. We're good. Sorry. So in every case, you believe that it's immoral for this woman not to care for her baby or to transgress on her fetus, and that doesn't materialize any way in your legal argument. You don't think that's like an issue?
No, because I can cohesively describe my legal argument in a way that like matches the intuitions about how government should work. You haven't actually critiqued anything. And also I just want to make very, very clear the idiocy that just happened. What you just like the analogy you just made was like, well, okay, what about the case where there isn't a government? In the actual context of what I'm arguing, that question would end with, what should the government do in the case that there is no government?
No, because I'm arguing morally, right?
But I'm not, so you're arguing with no one. Like, I don't know, like...
Okay, I mean, it's crazy. Like, why won't you engage with the moral argument?
Because we don't disagree.
Okay, then answer why you think it's morally, it makes sense to you. Answer in your framework.
I have.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Because it's crazy.
I
You're
have.
very. No, you haven't. Because it doesn't make sense. I'm asking for clarification, right? Because just to clarify, you hold these moral positions, but they do not materialize in any way in the legal application of those moral
Because I
principles.
believe
It makes no sense.
they do materialize. Different moral positions do materialize in the way of the state. But basically, I believe that a primary quality of the state is that it only exists and it only functions on the presupposition of self ownership because it is constituted by self ownership. So when it violates self ownership, its constitution fails, and therefore it's internal contradiction of the state to violate self ownership. It's like if they violated the sanctity of contract. If they violate the sanctity of contract, the social contract, the implicit contract, whatever you want to talk about, with the state that the citizens have, ceases to be constituted. And therefore, the state acting this way delegitimizes its own actions. Right? Like, it's a complicated legal theory about the quality of the state that means it can't enforce all conceivable moral principles.
No. I get that. I understand. You feel me? But I'm still arguing. Okay, okay, hold on. Just to back up, you believe that it's at least important, right? This idea of like the life of the fetus, the morality of abortion. You believe, like, regardless of your position, you understand that it is important, right?
Important in what context? Like, it's not
Is it
important to my argument. My argument's like pretty like, it doesn't take it as a premise. It doesn't take it as a.
It's an important question to consider. Yes.
Not between us two, because we agree. It's not an important question. We agree on the answer.
No. It just like now in the context of this debate, it's an important question to consider.
Important
yes,
is relative. Nothing is generally important. Things are specifically important.
Okay, my point is that if you were to if you were to recontextualize it and assess the gravity of the situation, right?
It depends on what context you recontextualized it in.
I would measure the loss of life that an active abortion policy would take.
Oh, do you think?
Given
okay.
When we prescribe rights to the fetus, right? So if it's like, if we prescribe rights to the fetus, if we make a moral argument for 15 weeks, right? And then there's like a 7-week period where there's still.
But I'm just like, who cares? You're talking to me. Like, I don't care. This doesn't matter. Like, this my thing is like.
Well,
this is a physical way. I don't care because we agree. We can state a bunch of things that we agree that are really important. I exist. That's really important. Who cares? Where phones exist. That's really important. Who cares? We agree on that. Okay, stating things that we agree doesn't matter.
You disagree that it should inform abortion policy, and I'm saying it's really important. That's why we should.
Okay, but like your concept of policymaking is nonsense.
Because if I'm right and you're wrong, right? Then and we allow abortion, then there's like.
Is the question okay?
A lot of human beings.
Is the question of religion really important?
Huh?
Is the question of religion really important?
Yeah.
So like, if the Catholics are right, like we're all really fucked, you know. That's really, really important. I would actually say on the scale of abortion, it's probably more important because it's our eternal souls.
Sure.
Does that mean that Catholicism should inform our policy making?
If I were a Catholic, I would say yes.
Are you religious?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, personally, yes.
Do you believe that your religion should inform how the government runs? Do you think you should have state-enforced religion?
In my country, yes.
In your country, it should. What country are you in? If you don't mind sharing. Oh, that's fine. Okay, in your country, you want state-enforced religion, and you would advocate it for every country, actually.
Well, state-enforced religion. Not necessarily, but I would enforce. I obviously have my own beliefs. I have my own extrapolations from my religion, and I have a moral system that I believe is internally coherent. I would advocate for laws that would reflect my moral system.
Yeah, one of which would be that. But you would.
It's not completely informed by religion.
But it is partially informed by religion. You think your religion should inform the laws you vote for?
Well, no, it informs my moral compass, and I feel like my moral compass is what I used to vote and whatever.
Okay, but this is still like that's how informing it is. That's how informations work. But also, you did say that you wanted state-enforced religion for your country. So, I mean, I guess you're clarifying now. but okay.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. You see the natural issue with this is, though, if you ask someone, is it moral to be, if I'm X religion, if someone comes up to me and says, is it moral to be Y religion, they're going to say no. But I think that question is totally...
If you ask a Muslim, is it moral to be a Christian, they would say, like, the correct answer is yes.
No, they want to...
Yeah,
they would say they're still deserving of respect and they still have a partial truth. But it's more moral to revert to Islam.
No, like there's no stipulation in Islam that would require you to, like, because there's also a legal practice of Islam. There's
a Sharia legal practice. There are multiple interpretations of legal.
That provides like
protections, but they still require them to pay tax on that basis.
I mean, yeah, in a Sharia country, yeah, they would.
Yeah, obviously, like, actually, if we look at this is a great example. If we look at the conflation, if we look at it, you're just wrong. They do think it's immoral to be Christian, and that's why they tax them. They just don't make them pay. So there are two different types of taxes for non-Muslims, and they make them pay one and not the other. So yeah, they give preferential treatment to people of the book, but they don't say that they're equivalent to Muslims. They don't get equal rights as Muslims.
Yeah, well, they pay jizya, yeah.
So yeah.
None of this is relevant though because
no, but it means so. Wait, sorry, you were wrong. And also, by and large, most religions stipulate that being another religion is immoral because it's a different moral code. And if you believe your moral code, then you think other moral codes are wrong, and you think acting on your other moral codes are wrong.
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna make a clarification because when I said, when I said that it's not immoral, what I mean is the legal practice in Islam gives, like, enshrines the protection of being a Christian or a Jew.
But it doesn't equalize. That's wrong.
Why would my moral position be I think we should convert Christians if the Islamic doctrine is they should pay tax? Why would mine then be enforcing Islam onto them? Because
because that's the whole fucking point. Is Islam is literally the submission to Allah. And you would want more people to submit to Allah, whereas they're not submitting. They have an incorrect. They commit, at the very least, they commit haram actions like every day. Like
that's not necessarily true. Like, that's true. Yeah, that doesn't mean
it is necessarily true. How many Christians do you know pray to the Kaaba?
Okay, yes. I understand. That's not okay. That's true, right?
So you'd want more moral things to happen in your country.
Is addressed in the Islamic doctrine.
What?
That moral question you're talking about, okay, these Christians, these whatever, is addressed in the Islamic legal practice.
Yes, and they still advocate reversion for Christians and Jews.
But so they're forced. Okay, if you're a Christian,
they still advocate reversion. You're forced to pay a tax that the Muslims don't have to pay. I would say taxing. I would say taxation is forced. You're not forced in the same way, but also okay. This is really funny because
this is not relevant at all because my moral compass is not Sharia law.
But you made a claim about Muslims that is wrong, and also there were like this is funny. Like you've got me into the discussions of two things that I really fucking know is law and religion. And it's crazy.
We can talk about religion.
I mean, it's just like you made a false claim. Do Muslims want Christians to convert?
Don't tell them. I clarified.
Well, you've actually doubled down on this claim.
No, I clarified because your suggestion was that, well, if you're a Muslim, don't you think you should live in a theocracy? Wouldn't you enforce your views on other people? That would sound like I want to force other people being Muslim. But if I really enforce the Islamic doctrine, that wouldn't involve me enforcing other people.
Yeah, it would actually. Paying taxes force.
Okay, sure, but again,
yes.
my moral system.
Okay, sure, yes. Like there's yes.
Okay, but is my moral legal system being a Muslim? No.
But my point was, first of all, you made a specific claim about Muslims. You were wrong.
Huh?
Your claim about Muslims was wrong. You can't recontextualize.
No, the application of Islam, right? It wouldn't make sense for them to want to force everyone to be a Muslim. That doesn't make any sense.
They do.
Do you think taxation is force?
Yes.
Okay, never mind then. Then we disagree. I'm sorry.
You don't think taxation is force?
When I think force, I think that it's illegal they would outlaw being this religion.
Okay, what if they only made you pay fines if you were that religion? What if they outlawed it and instead of throwing you in jail, they just made you pay a fine?
Okay, but if you pay tax, you also don't. You're not legally required to conscript to the military as well. So it's like a trade-off.
But you don't get that option. Like it's not a trade-off because it's not consensual. But second of all, like just hear me out principally. If they made it illegal, but the consequence was paying a fine, would that be force?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference? What's the difference between making it illegal and making you pay a fine and just making you pay higher taxes?
But you don't pay higher taxes.
You do.
Pay different tax.
You pay different. Yeah, but well, it's
not
so
higher,
there's 1, 2, and then there's standard. You do. They don't have to pay this 2, but they have to pay this 1, and then Muslims don't have to pay either. That's higher, my love.
No, Muslims pay tax too.
They do, but so Christians pay the same tax as Muslims plus 1.
Okay, hold on. Are you arguing that, by and large, jizya was always more than jizya? Or sorry, no, jizya was always more than zakah or whatever tax Muslims pay.
To my understanding, Christians pay the exact same tax as Muslims plus jizya.
I don't think that's true.
That is, I mean, okay. I think it is. If we go back through the expansion of the foundation of like the Ottoman Empire, that it was.
I'm disagreeing with your claim. I'm also disagreeing.
Okay.
That's like the legal. Hold on. I'm also disagreeing. Like even if that materialized in the real world, you'd also have to like prove with Islamic doctrine that's how it should be established. That's how it should be applied.
So the jizya tax imposed on non-Muslims in the Islamic war acted as a source of revenue and a pact of protection for those living under Muslim rule, not to be confused with the.
Where?
So this is just reading off study.com.
You're citing historical facts, and we're talking about religious doctrine.
I mean, I'm talking about. I was talking about what Muslims do.
Okay, okay, hold on. I don't understand. Hold on. like we are on an insane tangent, right?
Well, because you made a claim, that's wrong.
It's not wrong.
Okay.
Like you haven't proven through Islamic doctrine, right?
I don't have to prove through Islamic doctrine. I can observe that this is in fact what Muslims do.
Why do I care what Muslims do though? We're talking about
because you said Muslims wouldn't do that.
What Muslims do is not a religious question.
No, but you said a Muslim wouldn't do that.
Huh?
You said a Muslim wouldn't do that.
I did not say that. Why are you? No. Don't put those words in my mouth.
But you said actually a Muslim wouldn't do that.
Right?
What you've said so many times. What you've said so many times is, why would a Muslim want to revert a Christian? You're talking about what a Muslim would do.
Yeah. Okay,
so I'm talking about what Muslims do.
When I say what would a Muslim do, I'm saying if you apply, because you're saying, oh, if you were a perfect Muslim,
I didn't say perfect Muslim.
You can back just to show you that it's not. I'm not off topic at all. Because you said, oh, wouldn't a Catholic want him to like? Why don't Catholics want to push Catholicism? I'm saying if you believed in Catholicism to the max, you probably would. Right? I'm saying as a Muslim, you probably want Sharia law. That doesn't mean you want to convert everyone. That doesn't mean you want to blah blah blah.
But it does.
Okay, if you think that Muslims imposing jizya is just forced conversion, that's just a semantical argument then.
It's a correct argument, but it's also not necessary of what you said. So first of all, like, yes, it is forced conversion. If America put a taxation on non-Christians, it would be forced conversion.
Well, if it was an extra tax, yeah, but if it was just like a different tax, no, it wouldn't. Like if Christians would have to be paying more than Muslims.
They also for jizya, like, the whole point. So the one you're talking about is a tithe, right? The comparison you're making is to the tithe, is to zakat.
Yeah.
But that was a religious tithe fulfilling religious requirements. That's different than a tax.
Which is a legal practice in an Islamic society. Yeah.
Yeah. But you also get extra rights from that, by and large. And jizya is a protection so jizya is praying for protection under the Muslim Empire.
No, jizya. The purpose of jizya was just a tax imposed on people that would not be conscripted to go to the military.
But wait, sorry, that's a specific thing. Nothing's doctrinal about that. It's also not ubiquitous. That was partially true under the Ottoman Empire. It wasn't ubiquitously true under the Ottoman Empire. It was.
We're not talking about. We're talking about. Are we not talking about religion? Your thing says agnostic atheist, right? If you're talking about the Ottoman Empire, I'm not a supporter of Ottoman Empire.
No, but you're not a supporter of Islam either. But you said a Muslim wouldn't do that. I'm pointing you to Muslims that did it. Okay, that's the argument. Like,
do that. Okay, when I say Muslim, okay, you're not this stupid. I know you're not this stupid because when I say
No,
Muslims wouldn't do that,
me
I'm
taking your
saying
words for what they mean and what you said and what you argued is
no,
not me
but you
being
know what I'm
stupid.
saying.
If you want to
I'm
make a
saying if you
personal attack, that's
apply
fine.
the Muslim doctrine, it's the Islamic doctrine perfectly, it wouldn't lead to the consequence you're saying, right? That's what I say. That's what I mean when I say a Muslim wouldn't do that.
Absolutely would.
Because we were talking about a Catholic that was super Catholic and believing Catholicism to the max. That's where that came from. Don't You're kind of diverting a bit. You feel me?
But we weren't talking about Catholics that took Catholicism to the max.
We were, but okay.
I never said those words.
You said
Or
why wouldn't
anything
a
similar to
Catholic-
that.
why don't Catholics want to impose Catholicism onto America? No, that's not what you said.
Well, no. What I said is, if this distinction is incoherent, right, then you would be suggesting that like the separation of church and state is not justified, which it would be.
Well, no, I would
It
say
has
that
nothing to do with
I
religion.
would
It
say
has to do
someone
with
that
any
gets
like
the
concept
view-
of freedom. Every concept of freedom is based off of this idea that like it's not the proper role of the state. Also, you haven't contended with like
No, that's just
you haven't actually haven't actually
can
contended
read-
with like the argument that I made about the like nature of the state or anything about this, and also the idea of self ownership. Like, okay, I think it is a good thing to give bone marrow. I think it is a good thing to give blood. Do I believe that the state should force me to give blood? No. What's your contention?
Hold on, that's not the question because the question is it morally bad not to give bone marrow?
Yes.
In which case I would say no. It's not morally bad.
It's
not
not
to
morally
give bone-
bad not to give bone marrow?
No, it's not.
Is it morally
bad.
good to give bone marrow?
Yes.
Do you have an obligation to do that which is morally good?
You can also do an action that's morally neutral.
That's true, but if you fail to do something good, you're doing something bad.
No, you can just take a morally neutral action.
I
Not
believe
giving
you have an
morally- not
obligation to
giving
do things
bone
that are
marrow
good.
and giving
I believe you have an
No.
obligation to do things that are good. I think that's what it means.
No, I think you have an obligation not to do things that are bad.
Oh, intriguing. Really?
Isn't this? Yeah.
I think that's wild. I think in that case, like
If you
I think that's
wild,
circular
that
as well.
means You don't uphold your own moral principles, and that means you're wild. So.
Well, I think the moral principle is that I ought to help as many people as possible. Like I'm
Are
a
you
basic
doing that
util
right now?
person a little
Are you
bit.
doing that? You don't indulge in any amount of gluttony. You don't indulge in any.
Yeah, but I
amount
think
of,
gluttony's wrong.
consumerism.
I don't think I'm a perfect person.
Okay. I mean, like
I don't think anyone
I
thinks they're a
think my
perfect
moral-
person. This is critiquing my personal actions is entirely different than critiquing my conceptual
Well,
moral
no,
framework.
because I'm critiquing the fact that you would hold a moral system that you don't adhere to. Why even hold it then? That's just absurd.
No one adheres to their moral system entirely.
Okay, but it isn't like it's.
You
It's
know
absurd.
that
The
you're
moral
just
system is
that's so
absurd. It's
fucking
absurd.
shilly.
What?
You know that
Huh?
that's bullshit. Come on. That's useless. You know that no one adheres to their moral system entirely, and you know that even if I was the
But
worst,
you would make an honest effort to it. Like
I do make an honest effort to it. Fuck off. You don't know me.
Sorry, I'm sorry. The reason the reason I'm saying that is because the way that would materialize, the extrapolation of what you're saying is you would own like one shirt and one short because it'd be morally
No.
righteous for you to donate your whole closet.
No, it
It'd
wouldn't.
be morally righteous to live off as little as possible, eating like one jar of peanut butter a day, so you can donate the rest of your salary to other people. That's
I
what
disagree with
your-
that. That's wrong. No, it's not wrong.
Would that not be morally good to do?
There are hundreds of ways to engage in my moral principles, right? I think the maximum efficiency is to like use the huge series of privileges that I have in this world to like pressure the wealth to transfer from like those that actually have it to those that don't. I'm not one of those people that is like a multi-billionaire, multi-millionaire that like self-flagellation and whatnot like might actually be justified. So I think we can have a conceptual discussion about like how I think I can best implement my moral framework, or you can leave me the fuck alone and actually engage with the concepts that I'm describing.
Well, you're saying you're morally consistent and you try your best. Is that okay? Do you think that you not donating the shirt that you're wearing right now is immoral? Do you think that's immoral?
Me not donating, I don't think it's like the most effectual thing. Like I have to wear clothes every day,
Sure.
and also
Sure,
like
sure,
in
but
order
is
to
that immoral?
cohere with the society that I live in, I need to like maintain some level of hygiene. And me cohering with the society that I live in like has outdo moral impacts because it enables me to like leverage my privilege and power to change the institutions that are causing the huge amount of harm. So I can argue very, very strongly that a huge amount of my purchases enable me to cohere with society, therefore allowing me to leverage my privilege in morally beneficial ways. Once again, you're wasting my time. This is useless. It's also personally offensive because you don't know me, and it's actively dishonest. It's actively
How is it
dishonest.
dishonest?
It is actively dishonest to suggest that any critique of my actions is an actual critique of my conceptual framework.
I'm not
If
saying
you're
I'm not
if you're
critiquing your
unable,
actions. I'm simply not. I'm just saying like your moral
I
system that you
mean,
suggested leads to an absurd expectation. That's what I'm saying. I'm not critiquing you. I'm sure you're a wonderful person.
okay,
Okay.
well,
I'm just saying the moral system you suggested leads to an unreasonably high standard where
why?
you do.
I think it's
Wait,
immoral that I'm not giving blood as much as I should. I think that is immoral, yeah. You're not making a
I mean,
critique. This is an actual critique. I'm just going to stand by what you consider to be like irrational and not enough for you, fine. If you think it's impractical for people to be moral, that's fine. That's not an actual critique of a moral system.
I mean, sure, but I personally just think it doesn't make sense to like subscribe to a moral system. I mean, unless you truly believe that you right now you're not giving blood is an immoral action. Like
Yeah.
you believe that you're doing something immoral. Okay, well,
I think once we personalize it, so like as much as I practically could is the moralistic one, or like whatever's like practically optimal, because you can only like practicality is like the only moral like tie, but it's not a critique of a moral system that the maximal amount of morality is like not possible. Like, it's no critique of the rights-based moral system that no one goes throughout their life violating no rights. So
I know, but I
so this
personally
critique's
don't think that me
nonsense.
not giving blood right now is immoral.
I mean, we can talk about the right now, but like
I'm saying we reached an epistemic impasse in that.
so
regard.
okay, but this is like this is a weird impasse. You believe it would be a good thing for you to give blood right now, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and you just believe that like you not is like morally neutral. How do we build
Yes.
moral duties then? Do you think you only have negative moral duties?
Generally, yeah.
Then what does a mother owe her child?
I mean, the ones that are relevant to our conversation, yeah.
Then what's your argument for why
Because
like
I also hold religious beliefs that would have like proactive conscriptions onto me.
oh okay, so you do have like positive moral beliefs, just like not arguable ones.
Well, yeah, ones that are not relevant to us. Yeah, because are you religious? Do you want me to argue from a religious standard? Like, no.
Yeah, okay,
But
cool.
like, I'm talking about, but if in liberal society, it's usually, yeah.
But you don't actually believe them. You base your morals off religion.
Well, yeah, but I'm not arguing from a religious standard.
But I don't think okay, if you don't actually believe them, there's no point in us arguing.
Well, I do believe them because I can support. Once again, I'm not the Quran. I'm not like Hadith. Like I have multiple. Like I can also understand it through a religious perspective, but I also adhere to like this liberal ideology or like certain principles of liberalism. So I hold like I'm not just the Quran. You
But
feel me?
I'm confused as to okay, what is the moral value in charity? Yeah, what is the moral value in charity if like we primarily only have legal moral duties, negative moral duties? Because I feel like a moral
doing
I
a
like
moral good.
the only thing that it means for me to do a good thing is to fulfill a moral duty. Like that's what doing a good thing is fulfilling a moral duty. Like that's how I describe it. And then not doing a
I
good thing would be
don't know if
failing.
that's true.
Okay,
because
what does it mean to do a good
I mean,
thing?
you're begging the question there because you're saying fulfilling a moral duty. You're saying that you're obligated to do this and not doing it would be a moral bad anyway. So you're begging the question.
No,
saying
no,
it's
no,
not
I'm
a
just
good thing.
describing that's not begging the question.
You are.
No, it's not.
You're saying it's your duty. Obviously, if you
No,
don't
no, I'm not
do your
asserting that
duty,
it's
you're
my
doing
no, no,
bad.
I'm not asserting that it's my duty in that statement. I'm
You're
describing
suggesting that it's a moral obligation, no?
so I'm asserting I'm first so it depends which context you're talking. When I'm literally in that 3 sentences that you suggested was beg the question. I said this is just what I mean when I say these words. That's not begging the question. Because I also did assert independently that it was my duty by saying that it is a good thing to do. And then I said, when I say that it is a good thing to do, what I mean is that we have a moral duty to do it. And I'm fulfilling that moral duty when I do that. So, like, what do you mean by it is a good thing to do?
Okay, I'll explain, right? Personally, right? My moral philosophy is built off of certain axiomatic principles, right? One of those being, like, increasing... Sorry, increasing, like happiness or whatever bullshit, right? Right? And that's how we define a moral action. Taking steps to do that, right? It is a good thing to do this. Therefore, doing those actions that lead to this result is a good thing. Me not doing those actions wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing because those like things that would be bad, right, is murder. I have a moral justification for why murder is bad.
What does it mean for wait? So that's what it means. So, going towards a moral principle, taking an action towards a moral principle is a good thing to do. What is a bad action then? Like, don't give an example. Like, describe to me, like, principally what a bad action is, because there's some divorce between these two terms. I think a bad thing is just not doing a good thing. You think a
No.
bad thing is what? Actively working against those principles?
No, actively doing a bad thing.
But actively working what, like, can't define with define. What do you mean?
You said can't.
You can't define the word with using the word.
Oh, sorry. A bad action. Yeah, I guess it would be working actively against those things.
Actively against those principles. So no, like you could never critique someone for not doing anything. All inactions are morally neutral.
Generally, hold on. No, because there are situations where inaction is still an action, but I believe like there are scenarios where you not taking an action is more clearly initiating a process that leads to harm, right? But simple inaction, like I'm several degrees removed from.
Oh,
like,
it's but if I watch a baby drown, did I do something wrong?
Yes.
I don't. Okay, then the only argument. Okay, then we don't axiomatically disagree, unless you have what you actually have is this, is a practical degrees of separation argument. It's just actually I would expect when you're making a critique of my argument from practicality, the solution is to add a degree of separation, limit, saying, well, it's only immoral if I'm so close to this person.
I mean, sure, but that's also justified morally. Like, there's like this idea of like, huh?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Like there's like shades of utilitarianism where it's not just to the extreme where you don't have to materialize.
But what's the moral distinction between someone close to me and someone far away from me?
For example, you can say that for example, you ought to take action that comes at no cost to yourself but greatly benefits this. Like there's like, right?
I don't say once again that would just be a matter of scale. But especially degrees of separation. What a degree of separation would be suggesting that someone far away from me is somehow less morally relevant than someone close to me.
Well, no, I'm not talking geographically.
Geography would be a form of separation.
Like there's like we would measure a degree of separation based on like how much effort you have to exert to actually do this. No.
Oh, because I only have so much effort. That I agree with. That's a practical application of the general principle, which is that I ought to use my effort in the most morally positive way. So I ought to focus on those that I use the least effort for greatest return. But that's not saying that I still don't have an obligation to those who that ratio is higher. I just ought to go through all the other ratios. It's just some economics of utilitarianism. Nothing principled here.
Well, no, it would be principled. Like, what is it? What is the opposing idea? A deontology, where you would have to consider every action within a system, right? Like the trolley problem. I personally don't think it's immoral not to flip the switch because like in the utilitarian point of view, you would say maximizing the number of lives would be the most important thing.
Wait, sorry. Why is it this is inconsistent. Why is it immoral to watch a baby drown and it's not immoral to watch a baby get run over by a train?
No, the trolley is like 5 versus 1. So you flip the switch and instead of killing 5, it kills 1.
Oh, but what if you flip the switch and you can kill none?
Oh, well, then you ought to do that.
Okay. Why is 5 versus 1 different?
Because you are actively taking an action to cause a death.
Oh, okay. This doesn't make sense. You cannot hold that like. Okay, should I push someone out of the way to go save the baby?
I mean,
like like seriously, like if there's a baby like here and I have to push someone out of the way to go save them, but this person lives, they just get a few scrapes and bruises. Should I push the person out of the way and then go save this baby?
I mean, considering the system in totality, yes, you should.
Okay, but that's still a rights violation. So I committed a lesser rights violation to prevent a greater rights violation. That's directly analogous.
How do you measure the rights violation, though? That's important.
The same way that you just did. You said the same way you just did. Is that you said, oh well, pushing someone over with screw-ups and bruises, that's a rights violation in the same way that killing someone is. But that's acceptable to save someone. So you have a weird interpretation of like what scale utilitarianism, where like some amounts of rights violations by comparison to some great amount of utilitarianism is justified, but neither of these principles are genuinely held enough that the math actually works. Because once again, it only makes sense. The trolley problem here only makes sense is if you think killing someone is so gravely deontologically unjustified that it can never be justified. Whereas this scraping rights violation maybe can be justified. At that point, you do have to start taking rights violations and putting them on scales, and you have to take killing and put it just so high up that you can increase as many people on the trolley, right, that it'll never be justified. And then this just doesn't make any sense. If you're comparing
well, no, obviously, there's limits to any moral philosophy. If you tell me it's literally 7 billion people on one side and one person on the other side, I can if I held the position I just espoused to you,
then you're not describing a general principle. You're describing a specific application of an unspecified general principle.
No. My general principle would still, in this situation, would still be you can't flip the lever and kill one person to save 7 billion. But practically, what would the action I take would be? It would be killing. It'd be killing the one person versus 7 million.
Oh, wait, sorry, wait, that's not... You're just saying you would choose wrong?
What do you mean choose wrong?
You're saying... Wait. You're saying you have a moral imperative to flip the switch, but it's wrong to flip the switch.
No, I'm saying the specific moral claim I just made, but the deontological claim I just made, taken to the extreme, would suggest that I'm not allowed to flip the switch.
Yes.
But would I flip the switch? Yes.
So you would be morally obligated to flip the switch.
I don't know about morally it's just not justified. Like, it's taking it to the extreme. My moral justification is like...
Yes, this is what reductios do. This is how every argument goes. And you should be able to uphold your moral principles. Like, the test of a moral system is how many reductions it can like cohere.
So you adhere to utilitarianism?
Generally.
Okay, then I will say that why aren't you donating?
It's not a critique of it.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
You just say you just add a practical step, which I also do for my deontological belief.
No, because I'm not. You're sneaking a premise that I think I'm a good person. Which is dishonest. When I already told you that this was a dishonest argument.
I don't think it's dishonest.
It is dishonest because my actions are totally separated from my conceptual framework.
Huh?
My actions are totally separated from my moral framework. They're conceptually distinct, obviously.
I mean, this is not a dig at you because I feel like
no, but it's the only argument you have left when you can't beat a conceptual framework is to make it is dishonest because I could say right now I'm a bad person, I don't cohere to my moral framework, and my moral framework could still be correct.
I mean, yeah, but then I would just say I would question your intentions then. I would not.
Okay.
I would question your steadfastness to your beliefs.
Who cares? I would say I'm not steadfast to my beliefs in this case, but they're still correct. It's not a critique of the belief to say I don't actually believe it.
Oh, I mean, I would just say you're idealistic. Like, it's like...
Okay, that's fine. Once again, it's not a critique. Something being idealistic or utopian is not a critique.
I mean, okay.
You're just, like, not engaging in critiques of their arguments. Anyway, I'm probably going to go to bed.
Wait, can I talk to you one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
We can move on and be, like, more...
No, it is 3 o'clock, so I'm going to go to bed. But what was the last thing you want to talk about?
Minutes on atheism?
Sure, do you think you can prove God to exist?
Yes. Yeah, I believe... Okay, as an atheist, do you believe that transcendentals can exist?
Transcendentals? What is your understanding of transcendentals?
An entity that can house a concept that is divorced from the human mind.
I don't know what these words would mean in this context, but you're arguing like Neoplatonism. Do I adhere to Neoplatonism? Not necessarily.
Do you think the world is entirely materialistic?
Do I think the world is entirely materialistic? I think there's a material world.
Do you think all phenomena that we observe arise from materialistic like a materialistic justification, like everything?
I don't think materialistic justification conceptually makes sense. But I think
like a physical understanding of all phenomena. Is there a physical understanding of all phenomena that we observe?
Is there a physical understanding of all phenomena we observe? Sorry. We observe. Yes. Yes.
Let me rephrase one more time. Do you believe that all phenomena we observe epistemically has a physical justification?
Physical justification is a nonsense term. Epistemically, physical justification is a nonsense term as well.
I mean, I don't know how else to say. Like, do everything that we see in the world, everything that we experience, does it arise from a
Yeah.
physical process?
Yes, apparently.
Why do you believe so? Like that, like
Because I've never seen, because I have no evidence for the contrary.
Okay, but for example, like when you discuss something like consciousness, for example, right? That doesn't really have a biomechanical explanation. Consciousness, right? It could arise.
Of course, it has a biomechanical. So it doesn't have a cohesive biomechanical explanation, but obviously it has a biomechanical explanation in that when I smash my head in, I cease to have consciousness. Like we just don't know everything there is to know about it. But an argument from ignorance is no argument at all.
Right now, in the field of neuroscience, for example, people argue that.
But this is an argument from ignorance. Arguments from ignorance don't work.
Huh?
Arguments from ignorance do not work. Arguments from ignorance are nonsense. So you're saying we cannot explain it materialistically, therefore there is an explanation other than materialistically. That doesn't follow.
I'm just asking. No. I'm not making. I'm just asking you. Would you always adhere to? Yes, there is a physical. Like, do you conceive of a possibility where consciousness has a non-biomechanical?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's possible that I'm wrong. Yeah, but that's perfectly possible. It's possible that a God exists. I'm not a Gnostic theist. I'm not a Gnostic atheist.
An agnostic. Okay. Are you familiar with the infinite regress fallacy?
Yeah, the argument from God against the infinite regress. Yeah. It makes me cackle every day, and it's nonsense.
Why is it nonsense?
Because it would equivalently apply to a God, and it misapplies some basic theories. But anyway, I'm not gonna go into all of them with you. It is now almost 3. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right, can we have this conversation another time then?
Yeah, you're more than welcome on my live again.
Really, this was a good combo, yeah.
Absolutely, appreciate you coming up, man.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
You too. Sorry to the people in the guest requests. Love you all. I'm gonna go to bed. Also, because I'm getting no viewership, which is actually fucking devastating. Like, where the viewers at? Where the viewers at? Hashtag where the viewers at? Where the viewers at? Where the viewers at? Hashtag where's the viewers at? Okay. I'm not gonna go swimming either tomorrow. Not gonna happen. I might go swimming on Thursday.